Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Greek Freaks headed to South Beach in a blockbuster trade finalized last night. The Milwaukee Bucks are sending 10-time All-Star forward Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Miami Heat in exchange for 3 first-round picks, a future second-round pick, and a future pick swap. Also 4 players, including guard Tyler Hero. Miami also gets forward Bobby Portis in the deal. One of those 3 first-round picks acquired by Milwaukee is the 13th overall pick in tonight's NBA draft. The Bucks also have their own pick, which is 10 overall. The Cavs pick at 29 for what it's worth. The draft starts at 8 o'clock in Brooklyn. The Wizards have the number 1 pick. The Jazz pick at 2. The NHL draft is Friday in Buffalo. The Maple Leafs have the number 1 pick there. Blue Jackets pick at 14. Hear live CBJ draft coverage on The Fan Friday night at 7. In baseball Monday, the White Sox beat the Guardians in Chicago. In Cincinnati, the Brewers top the Reds in 10. This update is sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, your convenience store for metal. Visit Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com or 2180 Wilson Road for all your metal needs.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Tom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo, the boys with you for the next 3, 9:30. Giannis has been dealt. The fallout of all of that on NBA Draft Day, which has always, quite honestly, been a special day for me. We'll get into that as the show goes along. 10 o'clock, we hit you with The Real Truth. Uncle Dommy dropping by at 10:30. Week 2 of retirement for the legend. We'll see how that's all going. Coming up at 11:30, our good buddy Jacob Reimer, who is... he's like our own little Jay Billis, and he's going to help us with the draft tonight, and probably a little bit of Dusty May fallout. I believe I had that pretty quick on the interim. That was quick. That was within a few minutes of us finishing our show yesterday that they would have that interim done, and that should help them keep a lot of that roster intact. At least that's the hope at the University of Michigan. We'll see if it all works out. There is something about seeing precocious talent young. And it just hits a little bit different, and it doesn't matter the sport. The 3 that my kids play are football, basketball, and lacrosse. And through the years, because of how talented this state is, you have seen some absurd talent early. The crazy thing is, even amongst great talent, absurd talent sticks out, even amongst it, and you can spot them. There's a kid that is a rising freshman who NBC has played youth basketball, AAU against and with a little bit through the years, and I am certain that I would be shocked if 5 years from now he is not one of the top 25 players in the country. He just has that type of talent. He's already played for Real Madrid. Like all of these things that are absurd for youth athletes to be able to do, you could have spotted when this kid was in the 3rd or 4th grade. You truly could have. You could have spotted then. It just, even amongst really good players, the elite elevate. And tonight, a pretty interesting, just weird first full circle moment for that is going to come all the way to fruition in the NBA draft. I first heard about Darren Peterson in the youth basketball world when he was an 8th grader. He's a Canton kid, and you started to hear whispers about it. Now, obviously, he's 19 years old now, so he's 5 years older than NBC, but all of that kind of runs together. When you're in youth basketball world and in the AAU world, it all kind of runs together. And you go to these massive tournaments. There's a massive one up in Cleveland called the Drew Joyce, where basically kind of like all the best players in the country end up at this thing. And it's a little bit of an enterprise that is maybe a little shady, but nevertheless, they get a ton of talent there. And so you'd hear whispers, oh, this kid's over there, this kid's over there. Have you heard about this kid? And this was a kid I heard about. So we were up in that area playing in a youth basketball tournament. This was 4 years ago, I would say. Yeah, 4 years ago. And I knew that Darren was at CVCA, Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, which is a school up there. And so I said to NBC, let's go watch him play. So we went to the gym and watched him play. I'd never been in the gym before, and we went in the gym to watch him play. It's a pretty small gym, completely packed to the gills, completely. It was a playoff game. It wasn't a district final or anything like that. He was a sophomore at this time, and he was coming off a freshman year. He averaged 26, but it was small school, and who kind of knows. But there were some preliminary things that had him ranked as a top 10 player in the class, so forth and so on. And so we went and sat down, and as it would happen to work out, I ended up sitting next to Darren's mom, unbeknownst to me. Now, she looks exactly like Darren, so if you ever saw her in person, you would, or even if you didn't, and you saw and you knew what he looked like, you'd go, well, yep, there it goes. That makes sense. So I ended up sitting right next to her, didn't realize it at the time, and I just said to her at one point in the game, I said, is he yours? And she said, yeah, and she was really proud, obviously. His dad was on the staff. His dad played at Akron. And we struck up a little conversation, and I asked her, I said, when did you know he was great? Or when did you know? I said, when did you know he was different? And she said, about 7th grade. We went to a national AAU thing, and some sneaker companies were like, he's built a little different, and you're going to something here with this kid. And so she said about 7th grade, and then she found out what I did, and she got a little apprehensive because she thought I was like looking for like a story. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm just here to watch a basketball game. I have no influence or any, nor would I want any, or no story to tell here. So watch the game, and he just jumps off the screen. The length, look, he played like Kobe and just effortless. He had incredible bounce and pace and length and all of these things. And I remember coming on this show, and I can't remember, Reese, if it was you and me and Chops or if it was me and Laurinaitis, but I remember coming on the show and saying, I just saw the best high school basketball player I've ever seen. I just saw him, and he's the best high school basketball. I said, I've never seen LeBron in person. This is the best high school basketball player I've ever seen in person. And then he went to Huntington Prep, and then he went to Prolific Prep, and then he went to Kansas. And so it came full circle this spring when I took Beamsy to Lawrence, and we went to Fog Allen and watched Kansas play. And Darren had a weird year. He had a really weird year, and he became kind of the story of college basketball with these cramps and all of these other things that were happening, taking himself in and out of games. He had like 28.5 was it against Oklahoma State, and then didn't play in the second half. Like he could have had 50, like just effortless score. And we were on the flight down and back with his parents. Not near each other, but we were on the same flights. And so I saw them throughout the weekend and got to meet some other Kansas folks, and everybody down there was just awesome. And I remember a parent on the team telling me after we watched them play, it was the senior day game against Kansas State, and they honored Darren too because obviously they knew. And one of the parents of one of the seniors said to me, well, you got to see a good Darren game. And he was awesome. He was awesome. And Timmy Hall went down to a game this year down there, his alma mater, and he got to see a good Darren game. And so tonight, this kid is going to go number 2 probably overall in the NBA draft. He's probably the second best Ohio basketball player to come out at this stage. He's the best since LeBron to come through the state of Ohio, and that's saying something because you can look at where we've had over the last 25 years. It's a stupefying level of talent that's come through this state. And as I tell all of that story, I understand that for most of you listening, and probably both of you, you're going, I don't feel like I know that kid at all. I mean, he probably doesn't even feel like an Ohioan to you because he hasn't been here in forever. And that is one of the casualties of this system that we're in now. And it's not just a situation with NIL in college. It's not that. The reason Darren went to Huntington Prep is because Adidas gave him $1 million as a 16-year-old. And at that time, you couldn't make that money in the state of Ohio. We didn't have NIL. And so the only place that he could do it in Ohio was a place called Western Reserve Academy, where guess who was there last year? Anthony Thompson. That was the only place. And Spire, way up on the lake, Spire Institute. Those two you could have made NIL. Now everybody in Ohio can. But he, as talented as he is, it almost feels like there's no connection with him to the state of Ohio because he hasn't been here for so long. And I think that sucks because I think one of the things about LeBron is his connection to Ohio, is the idea that he played for state championships at St. Vincent, St. Mary. And it's not Darren's fault. It's not his parents' fault. If any of you out there listening had a 16-year-old in a sneaker company wanted to give him $1 million, you'd all take it. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the product of where we are and the identification of these guys so young. Not anybody's fault. But I also can't help but think, can you imagine if this kid would have gotten 4 years of Ohio high school basketball and what the state tournament would have been like and what the legend he would have been around here? Now it feels like, yeah, he's an Ohioan, but does it even feel like that? Does it feel? It certainly doesn't feel the way it did with LeBron. There's no chance.
Yeah, it's disappointing when you have so much that you're not able to appreciate here at home. And I also I wonder if, in the Darren Peterson war room or wherever they're set up for, it's at the Barclays Center tonight's draft.
Yeah.
If the Giannis news comes down, but lost in that was the Wizards giving Trae Young $200 million. If Darren Peterson's like, yes.
Oh, he's so set. They're so set already. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what the Adidas contracts have looked like the last 3 years, Bake.
It's a good life for him, even though he's taken a lot of criticism, and I know he's not even going to be beloved in Kansas like he should be out there because of the way that whole season played out for him. Selfishly, Bo, I hate everything you just talked about because it would have been cool to see him play in a state tournament. I'm lucky enough to work those, and it would have been really cool to see him. I remember what a spectacle it was 2 seasons ago when Quinn Kwasniak was there, and Quinn Kwasniak's nothing like Darren Peterson, but he broke the scoring record, and he just put on a shooting clinic at the state championship, and it was pretty awesome to see. So I can only imagine how Darren Peterson would have been there at UD Arena.
The people who tell the tales of seeing LeBron play in the state tournament, and who was the team that beat him?
I believe that was Roger Bacon.
Roger Bacon beat him in the state final.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he lost. He won 3 state championships, lost his junior year? Sophomore, junior year.
I think it was the junior year.
Yeah. But you still, the stuff of the people who saw that in person, it's the stuff of legend. I mean, it's in a way, it's kind of like that story that I told, and the Washington Commanders asked me to tell that story about Sonny Styles. I did something for them a couple months ago talking about Sonny Styles and the story of him in the state championship game against Centerville. And he was the best player on the court, and there were 2 Mr. Basketballs on the court in that game. That's the stuff of high school legend that, I guess, to bring this full circle, no one wants NIL or any of this nonsense. But at the very least, maybe we can keep more of these kids in state, and we can appreciate them in state in a way that, unfortunately for Peterson, there just was never going to be. So that just was the way that it kind of shook out. But he's going to go number 2. DeBonce's going 1. He's going to go number 2. We'll get into that with Jacob Reimer. It'll kind of be something that we pay attention to throughout the day, as there's a lot of news in the NBA, as Reese alluded to there. Speaking of Giannis, we'll get into that coming up at 9:30, another historic day in the World Cup. I was told that there was a good baseball game last night as well, so we'll get into all of that coming up. We're off and running on a Tuesday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Getting a speeding ticket can ruin your day. But what about that cyclist? Or the pedestrian crossing the street? If you hit them while speeding, you'll do more than just ruin their days. That's why tickets are more than just a fine. They're a second chance. A reminder of what's on the line when you're behind the wheel. You won't get a do-over every time. So take this as your sign to follow the speed limit every drive. Speeding slows you down. Paid for by NHTSA.
Performance matters in intimate moments. Don't let ED ruin them. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and I want to assure you that if you're like the vast majority of guys, you don't have to suffer with ED anymore. In fact, you might be pleasantly surprised at how the right treatments could positively impact your love life. At Tri-State Men's Health, our advanced medical therapies go far beyond pills. We have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, and we offer specific and combinative treatments that can dramatically enhance both your performance and your stamina. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a far greater level of intimacy to both you and the one you love, perhaps performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and find out why our advanced treatment strategies offer so much more. Your first visit is just $99 and gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, advanced medical science to improve men's lives.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Scotty Vegas here, and my wife caught me in the garage just staring at my beautiful new Bronco from Krieger Ford. I mean, I'm in love. The buying process at Krieger Ford was amazing. Quick, no pressure, fun, in and out so fast I couldn't believe it. I was prepared to spend all day looking at cars. Instead, I got my shiny new red Bronco out of the showroom in no time. If you're looking for a new car for the summer, visit Krieger Ford on Morse Road. Krieger Ford is my winning bet. Visit KriegerFord.com today.
Sometimes a girl in my class doesn't bring anything to eat for lunch.
The truth is, in America, 1 in 5 kids worry about their next meal.
I want everybody to have yummy food.
So do we. That's why Kroger donates surplus fresh food from our shelves to your local food bank. We've provided over 3.5 billion meals through our Zero Hunger, Zero Waste plan. Visit Kroger.com to see how you can help fight hunger and waste in our community.
Because nobody should have an empty tummy.
When you first saw her, she was out walking her dog. You didn't notice her at first. But when you finally did, it was too late. Because at that moment, you were speeding. She was out walking her dog and only had a second to let go of the leash. Your foot was on the gas, and her life was on the line. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
When you're listening to T-Bone and Tyvis, all the F words apply. Football, food, and fun, and fat, and furry. They both have beards. And they dress up like animals and hump things. T-Bone and Tyvis.
Weekday mornings at 6.
The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A sunshiny day for us today as daytime highs get into the upper 70s and then be very refreshing for us tonight with lows down into the 50s and mostly clear skies. For Wednesday, plenty of sunshine again and warmer. Daytime highs end up in the low 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 weather impact forecast.
Miss a little, miss a lot. Catch Bishop and Friends wherever you get your podcasts. It's free.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
The Fan. If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, when you're old like me and you've been around for a while, you learn a few things. You learn what you know and you learn what you don't. And one thing I don't is what to do with pets, like ants and termites. So I turn to my friends at Rose Pest Solutions. Over 165 years of experience, they've mastered their craft. The nation's oldest family-owned pest control company. The pros from Rose protect Columbus homes and businesses. Expert pest prevention and treatment. Got a pest problem? Rose's solution. Call 800-966-ROSE or visit rosepestsolutions.com. I know Bake saw none of this, but the stars are shining bright at the World Cup. My kids are watching it most. NBC was busy at hell. Basketball and then football, mini camps, and all sorts of other things. But the other two, if they were around, and yesterday was a little cooler, so the TVs were on a little bit, and this stuff was on pretty much nonstop. Lionel Messi, who will turn 39 tomorrow, scored twice in Argentina's 2-0 win over Austria. He now has 18 World Cup goals. That's most all-time, 2 clear of Miroslav Klose. He will not have this record for long. He won't, because 27-year-old Kylian Mbappe scored 2 in France's 3-0 win over Iraq. He now has 16 World Cup goals in just 3 appearances. Norway's Erling Haaland scored twice in the 3-2 win over Senegal. Becoming just the second player in the last 50 years to score twice in each of his first 2 World Cup games. Harry Kane was the other in 2018. This continues to be, and I know you're not into it, Bake, but this continues to be going as well as it possibly could for a FIFA World Cup in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The stars are shining as bright as possible. even if you're a casual sports fan, and even if you abhor soccer the way that Bake does, you know who Lionel Messi is, you know who Kylian Mbappe is, he probably even knows who Erling Haaland is. And so the fact that those guys are shining on this big of a stage is only helping. The other thing that's been really cool about this, and this is, the cockeyed optimist in me, everybody seems to be really getting along. It seems to be going really well. These stadiums are slammed. These parties that are happening in the streets, the Tartan Army in Boston, and then transitioning to Miami. The Norway team doing the Viking chants. We had the Dutch in Dallas doing the Orange Wave. Like all of this stuff that is happening, it kind of gives you. It's a little bit of a warm blanket for me, because we get told from the leaders on both sides, on the edges of our political parties, that we're in a disaster state. It seems like the rest of the world's like, yeah, it's pretty great here. We're doing pretty good. Like, all this stuff seems to be winning. And it's kind of been a fun thing this summer to see it. And even if you're not watching the games, and Bake, I know that you're not, but even if you're not, the experience around it and everything that you're seeing on social feels like it's going about as well as it can. So it's working on the field of play, and it's working in the streets, it's working in the stands. Everybody's kind of winning so far.
Even the country's ranch hustlers are making TSA-approved packets of ranch so people can take it home with them. Messi also, I think, became the first player to miss a penalty kick in 3 straight World Cup appearances in yesterday's game. So
he could have had 3.
Not like it matters. He could have had 3 goals yesterday. But this has become a passive, and now it's must-see anytime you see Argentina. And at least for me, who is maybe the most casual soccer fan that I ever thought existed. Like, I love going to Crew games. I love watching. I love paying attention to the Columbus Crew. But international, you can miss me on all of that. Until now. Now and I'm really excited to see what Fox does for the group play overall ratings, because this has been a lot of fun to watch. And it's been a lot of fun to. And you're just puttering around the house in the afternoon to kind of turn around and see what's going on. And I think there was rain delays all over the place, because I think 2 of the 3 games that you had just mentioned were NFC East stadiums.
It was the one in Philly, Reese. It was France, Iraq. That was deluge. Like, I'm looking at the Iraqi coach, and they tried to put a poncho on him. And I'm certain
he did not like that.
I'm sure he's never even seen a poncho. Like, I'm sure none of those guys who played for Iraq had ever seen it rain like that. They were trying to get the field right. And they had like squeegees out trying to get it, because the ball would go in the air and just plop, kind of plug like a golf ball. That was surreal. Really cool.
You mentioned the stars aspect of this. Yeah. And as you mentioned, I'm not watching, but you do hear. Like, Messi had a hat trick. Messi had 2 goals. Kylian Mbappe. The other guy you mentioned there, what was it, Haaland?
Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I don't know that one, but you talked about Harry Kane. Isn't he on the broadcasts of some of these now? I believe I had heard that.
No, he's playing for England.
He's playing still. Okay.
Yeah, he's playing for England.
So Harry Kane, I've heard that name obviously before, but this is what we want in big events, is you want the stars. We talk about this all the time. In the NCAA tournament, George Mason is fun in the first round. Yeah. Maybe in the round 2, but come Final Four, you want Duke, you want Carolina, you want Arizona, you want Kentucky, you want Kansas, you want UConn, you want the Blue Bloods. So this is what we want in sporting events, is we want to see the best players shining in the brightest moments.
And the other thing that is really staggering to me, and maybe the lead up to this, it was like, well, no one's going to come, tickets, blah, blah, blah. If you want to go watch Portugal play Uzbekistan today in Houston, the lowest get-in price is $1,100. If you want to see England play Ghana this afternoon in Foxborough, the lowest get-in price is $826. Can I interest you in Panama, Croatia at BMO Field in Toronto? Lowest get-in, $717. The demand is outrageous for this stuff. It's all worked. It has all worked, and it's been a hell of an experience. And I love seeing the social stuff of all these celebrations in the streets and people celebrating America and Canada and all of it. It's in Mexico. It's all winning. This is a complicated one to put together. Geopolitically, it's complicated, obviously, and then the fact that you're doing it over 3 countries with borders and all the rest of it. But it's working, and they're absolutely crushing it. Did I miss anything that I needed to not miss on the Diamond last night? I kept getting a lot of alerts from various folks who forget that I don't watch baseball anymore about the Guardians game last night.
Yeah, last night was this is why Jose Ramirez means so much to this team, because just in so many moments, he's the equalizer. And also they need Emmanuel Clase to go get a judge in Lubbock to overturn a gambling ban, because you're going to run Cade Smith, the Guardians closer, into the ground if you keep having to use him like this. And they've had to use him in so many different instances because they can only manage two-run leads at best going into the ninth inning. I mean, if you look at the AL Central, and I'd ask this question in the YouTube chat, like, could currently a team of the best position players in the American League Central win a 7-game series with the Dodgers? And the answer is no.
So hold on a second. You said if we put an All-Star this was Friday?
This is if we do it right now.
Oh, well, you're asking it now.
Today. I thought about this this morning, and I said if you take the best performing players in the American League Central, could they beat the Dodgers? The best pitching staff, the best outfielders, the best infielders. Could they beat the Dodgers? No.
No, probably not. Wouldn't have a better lineup.
They sure no, they would not.
No,
I don't even know who you play because everyone's injured.
Yeah, no, not close. Boy, what a mess that division is, dude. The AL West is worse. There's only one team above 500 in the AL West, and that's the Mariners at 40-39. That's it.
This is why they've got to get a salary cap floor, right? They've got to get these teams somewhere in the same stratosphere, at least, as far as paying these, because the difference between the haves and the haves not in baseball is growing more and more.
It is big. Yeah, it's become European soccer. We started with the footy, so we'll finish with the footy. This is what La Liga looks like. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, gap. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what Major League Baseball is at the moment, is it's just this massive gap between them all. Today, the NBA is going to take center stage, and a true blockbuster, not a fake one, a true blockbuster happened late last night. Giannis is headed to Miami. We will get to that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Experience the adrenaline of Barrett-Jackson in Columbus, Ohio, June 25th to 27th. See hundreds of no-reserve collector cars cross the auction block, interactive sponsor displays, and a wide selection of food and drinks. It's an exciting, high-octane event for fans of all ages. Tickets on sale now at barrett-jackson.com.
T-Bone and Tyvis wake you up every weekday morning from 6 to 9, and I think I can sum up the show in 3 words. Football, food, and fun. Ain't that right, T-Bone?
And I get more volume per suck.
And there's only one thing that makes Tyvis happier than a free hair transplant.
All it took was legalizing the money you had to give to the players. And we are watching the demise of the SEC.
T-Bone and Tyvis, weekday morning starting at 6. And tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 The Fan.
Grilling season starts now at Billiards Plus. Shop top-of-the-line grills and turn every cookout into a win. Then bring the fun inside with pool tables, shuffleboard, and more. Everything for the ultimate game room. Billiards Plus. Grills, games, and good times. Online or on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Apex Pros, the pros who knows.
Well, here's what's up on a Tuesday edition of the program. A massive trade in the National Basketball Association on the eve of the NBA draft, which is tonight. This happened late last night. It was agreed to in principle. The Milwaukee Bucks are trading Giannis and Bobby Portis to the Miami Heat for Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Kasparis, you guess it, I don't know, 3 first-round picks and 1 pick swap. Reese, you got one on that? Yakachonis?
Yeah. Kasparis Yakachonis.
There you go. The 3 picks are unprotected in 31, 33, and a pick swap, blah, 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 blah. Here's the this came down to Boston and Miami. It just was that simple. Boston is a team that won a championship with a core of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and an incredibly well-built team around them. And then they had the injury to Tatum last year. They were the favorite to win the championship to start the season, and certainly the favorite to win the East, if not the championship. The Celtics were pushing hard for a 1-for-1 swap between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jaylen Brown. Finished 6th in the MVP voting. The Celtics eventually caved, according to reporting from Shams Charania from that position, as the Boston aggressively pursued Antetokounmpo with an offer of Brown plus 2 first-round picks. Brown was the best player on the table. The Heat offered them much more in terms of young assets. This is the real truth on this. Jaylen Brown's 29, Giannis is 31. If you are the Milwaukee Bucks and you acquire Jaylen Brown, you essentially end up in NBA purgatory in this place where you're just kind of in the middle of it, being in an 8 seed or something like that, and never ever reaching back to being a championship. So they're going to go the other way with it. My guess is they spin some of these assets even. Tyler Hero's kind of the perfect antidote for this. He's a Milwaukee kid, and so he's going home a little in a big way to go there, and he's fun to watch. So that will be somebody that you'll be able to go, hey, we'll watch the local kid play for the Bucks. So there's some sort of story with that. But this is as devastating, I would assume, from a Bucks fan as possible. From a basketball perspective, it probably should have happened a year ago, and the give back on this would have been significantly more, because when you wait a year, and this ended up being kind of a wasted year for the Bucks, you lose some of your negotiating power in a big way. The other part of this, though, is, and this is where I think this is really hard from the Bucks perspective, like, whoever wants to be the person trading Giannis Antetokounmpo? I mean, you just don't want to do that. And it felt like Giannis didn't want to, demand it. And so he was kind of tepid with it. And so this is kind of what it ends up. The crazy thing about all of this is, to me, this doesn't change anything at all as it stands right now in the East. Could Miami win the East? I don't know. I mean, it's 2 bigs. Do they have enough shooting? Does it feel like they're as good as the Knicks or some of the other teams at the top? It doesn't feel like it to me. To me, they need a lot of shooting around it. I think almost the bigger part of this is, what does Boston now do with Jaylen Brown? Because it almost feels like there's no possibility for him to return there. There's been some talk this morning about, should the Cavs jump in on Jaylen Brown in some way and try to put a package together there. I'm sure, and I saw Windhurst this morning saying on Get Up that many teams were prepared for this, that this would be the case, and that they would then pursue Jaylen Brown. So that's probably where that goes. The impact of Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee is as big as any athlete in the history of that city, I would imagine. Truly. I don't know who else would be in that mix. Is it Robin Yount and Paul Molitor and Giannis? He's there. I mean, Kareem's a long time ago when he played there.
Yeah, it's, a completely different NBA. He's, for that franchise, the biggest superstar. It does work. They hired Tevin Jenkins, I think, as their new head coach. Taylor Jenkins, excuse me.
Taylor Jenkins. Scooney was on his staff in
Memphis. Yeah, and so I think this does work out for the Bucks right now to kind of reset this. But, yeah, had they traded him a year ago, I think you still get a similar haul, but you get picks that are in this decade. Or you at least get a couple more picks centered in this decade, because the second-round pick's not till 2033. I don't know anything about when the pick swap is. For, Milwaukee, they have 2 tonight, 10 and 13, but does anything they get tonight, Tyler Hero's 26, does anything they do tonight make them threatening in the next 5 years? And then Miami's got to do at least one more thing.
I agree.
Because I think it was before Giannis, or before the deal was done, Miami Heat was maybe 7th or 8th in the East, and then the Giannis deal gets done and they're 5th in terms of odds to win. And it's like, well, okay, because you've now mortgaged your future. Miami's going now-ish, but I can't put all of my emphasis in that because that doesn't seem like a complete team.
No, and the other thing that they're going to have to defy is, and this is something that I was dead wrong about, I assumed after they got LeBron that the Heat would always be a team that NBA players wanted to play for. They'd go in free agency. Miami's had cap space a lot, and they've never been able to lure guys there in true free agency. It's always come via trade. So, that part's going to be pretty interesting if they can, because they're going to have to lure some guys. And I already saw like Chris Sheridan this morning saying they should bring LeBron in on the mid-level exception at $15 million or whatever. It's hard for me to imagine LeBron going back to Miami the way that all of that ended. But, there are some layers to this thing for sure. I don't know that it changes the way that I view anything in the league for next year, though.
It shocks me and surprises me that they would not take the Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks deal over this one. It tells me that Milwaukee doesn't want to win for a while here, quite frankly. And Tyler Hero's an okay player. I think he averaged 20 points a game last year.
He's an all-star in 2025, yeah.
He's a very good shooter. But the rest of those guys that they got are just role players. And the NBA has told us for the past decade that first-round picks mean nothing.
They really do.
They've told us that they mean absolute jack squat. So you have given up a top 5 player in the NBA for really nothing here. And if you're the Miami Heat, Reese is right. They've got to go out and make another move because they are not winning a championship with Giannis, Bam Adebayo, and Andrew.
Unless Bam
Wiggins
scores 80 points a game. They'll do that then, but it just doesn't
There's enough shooting.
So that's not happening. So this makes the Miami Heat better, but this means they've got the pressure is on them. They've got to go do more now.
Yeah. They are in the biggest win now and they got a great staff. Local guy Chris Quinn on that staff, still one of the best you're ever going to find, with Eric Spoelstra on that staff. But yeah, they need to add some stuff to it in a hurry because you now have a 2-year window to try to be as good as OKC and the Spurs and the Knicks and everybody else. The Cavs pick a night at 29. This is a loaded NBA draft tonight with DeBonsa and Peterson and Cam Boozer and Caleb Wilson, Darius Acuff, ton of studs in it, and a bunch of guys who should be able to have a relatively immediate impact on all of this. So it's going to be a fun one tonight. In addition to this, you mentioned Trae Young got his extension. Was it 4 years, 205 on that?
Yeah, saying I saw CBS close to $212 million for that 4-year extension. So what does that do for what the Wizards want to do in tonight's NBA draft? Like, does that change where they go?
Yeah, they're not taking Darren Peterson. Right. They're taking DeBonsa. Yeah.
Or are they? So. Yeah. Because I had wondered, if they weren't sold on DeBonsa at 1, do they dangle it in front of Utah and be like, well, we're taking other calls?
I think, yeah.
Play that game.
Maybe, Reese. We talked about that. Remember, like, do you say, like, give me, who's the kid from Rutgers? Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
Give me Ace Bailey in the number 2, and you can have DeBonsa if you're Utah. But they're staying. So the Young extension is DeBonsa staying because Peterson's going to play point, or he's going to be primary ball handler, and you can't have Trae playing opposite him.
Could they do both still? Could they trade with Utah because Utah really wants DeBonsa, and then could they go to number 2 and still pass on Peterson and take Boozer or Caleb Williams and still get a big?
Yeah, you might be able to do that. You may be able to do that, and then Peterson would fall to 3 to Memphis. You might be able to do that. That could be in play too. You could see some stuff. I mean, this could be a pretty wild day in the NBA. The Cavaliers pick at 29, so we'll kind of monitor all of this. Yesterday was a surprising one with Dusty May leaving Michigan to be the head coach at Dallas. Jeff Goodman. I mean, this is exactly it's exactly what we said yesterday when reacting to the news live. He tweeted this out last night. The reason Dusty May's main source of reasons he left Michigan, the state of college basketball, not knowing what it's going to look like tomorrow, in a month, or 5 years, which we said. And then the other one's the big one, the organization, the chance to coach Cooper Flagg. Yeah. By the way, Cooper Flagg, guys, you want to talk about how good this draft's supposed to be? Cooper Flagg should be in this draft. He went a year early to Duke. He's this age. He should be in this draft. Can you imagine him in this draft? If he was in it too? He had him at 1 and DeBonsa and Peterson and Boozer and Will. I mean, my God.
Already
nuts.
generational.
It's already nuts.
Yeah, he's this age. The other thing I believe we had is yesterday saying that you have to promote Boynton, and they did. They promoted Mike Boynton Jr. to interim head coach. They did that almost as soon as we were off the air yesterday. 7 seasons of head coaching experience at Oklahoma State. So a big part of the reason, and there's a lot to fill in here. He's the guy who got Cade Cunningham to Oklahoma State. He's a big reason why they've been able to get all of that talent to Michigan. He's plugged in on that type of stuff and is a pretty dang good recruiter. So I knew as soon as you mentioned his name yesterday, Reese, when we were dealing with all this from a breaking standpoint, that they would move quickly because you can't afford to have a coaching search. So you've got to get a guy in place who can recruit their guys. And sophomore guard Troy McKinney already tweeting out that he's staying at Michigan. But they're going to have a fist fight to hold on to the rest of that staff.
A 15-day window for whatever it's worth. I can't imagine yesterday that entire Michigan roster. And so Trey McKinney posted that message around 7 o'clock last night where that entire roster at 9 in the morning was just their phones constant. Because that's where we're at right now. And probably, Mark Stein said they had heard rumblings about May on June 4th. And so probably June 4th or the last month, they've been trying to fight to keep this roster intact. And so that's going to be the goal for the next 15 days. And very interesting to see with what they do.
So with this rule, right, with the 15-day window that happens 5 days after a new coach is named, this is a interim coach. This isn't a head coach. Does the window open up?
I like how you so earnestly ask that as if that there are rules that are being followed.
Well, I'm just saying. Like
I know where you're going with it.
Here's the thing.
I have no idea.
Reese and I talked about this before the show. Yeah. I could see Michigan naming this guy interim, and then about 2 weeks before the season saying, hey, we're hiring Billy Donovan to be our head coach. Yeah. So these players can't go anywhere because the season's about to start.
It's a great question. I have no idea if, like, him being the interim coach, does the window open now? The window open now that everyone's paying attention? I have no idea. If that means that they have 15 days from right now, or does that mean does that start again if they name a permanent coach? So in the scenario you just laid out, if they do hire Billy Donovan in October or in August, do they have another 15-day window that opens where they can be poached? I mean, I don't know. But
it's all interesting, really and I can see that university of all of them doing something like that.
Oh, it's all on the table. It's all on the table. Yeah. They went from. It's pretty crazy what's happened in their athletic department over the last 4 or 5 years, truly, and 2 national titles in the middle of it. You want to talk about John Bacon's going to write a hell of a book about the last 4 years of Michigan athletics. I might have to text him and see if he'll come on and just talk about that because it's been nuts. To review or not to review, we will get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Summer heats up fast here in Columbus, and bad windows can have a tough time keeping a home cool and can send energy bills through the roof.
I hate to admit it, but we've had some complaints about our windows doing that.
Uh-oh.
I just tell them it's just like being at the beach, minus the water and the beach. And the happiness, and you're in your living room. It's gross.
Get the windows that Columbus homeowners rated the leading window brand at PellaColumbus.com.
This 4th of July week, Championship Golf takes center stage in Columbus. From July 2nd through 5th, the 46th U.S. Senior Open Championship comes to Scioto Country Club, where legends of the game meet hallowed grounds that don't play favorites. Feel the energy, the tradition, and the pressure of championship golf at its finest. Be there for every moment. Tickets are available now on SeatGeek.
Fall is a season of change, and Hinderer Motor Company is turning over a new leaf with big savings. This is Justin Hinderer. Right now, any one of our participating locations is paying up to $3,500 over Kelley Blue Book value. That's right. Drive in your current vehicle and leave with one of ours today. Don't wait. The leaves are falling and so are the prices. At Hinderer Motor Company, we love what moves you.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
You having trouble raising your arms, climbing stairs? Maybe you can't kneel down, which means you can't play with the kids, golf with the guys, get through a work day without exhausting pain. Hey, it's Bobby, and I'm here to celebrate what you can do. It's exactly what QC Kinetics patients are doing. It's what I did. Not bracing for the next jolt of pain. It's gone. They've moved on. I've moved on. I'm back to my life. You've heard me talk about Dr. Ray Tesner and the team at QC Kinetics and how they've helped me get my knee back together. It was bothering me. I couldn't run, couldn't go do the things that I love to do, like be with my kids, run around outside in the summer and enjoy it. But I didn't have to miss work. There was no surgery. There was no long recovery. And I love running into people who have gone to see them at QC Kinetics and how much better they feel now. Their consultation is totally free. So go there and check out and see if you're a good candidate. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Or check them out online at qckinetics.com.
Great Lakes Hyundai, the savings are so good.
Get 0% financing for 60 months on new 2026 Tucsons. Only at Great Lakes, Columbus, or Dublin, or glakeshyundai.com. Approved A1 credit. Up to 30K finance only. Plus qualified trade. N76.
Common Man and Timmy. Voted America's dumbest show by Marconi voters. Common Man is a Columbus radio legend. And by legend, I mean it's a miracle he hasn't been fired yet. And Timmy is, well, Timmy will complain about anything and everything. And he kind of looks like a woman. Giggity, giggity, giggity. So there's that. Common Man and Timmy.
Sponsored by Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on The Fan.
3 decades, one family, and a simple promise to deliver a white glove customer experience every single time. Newman Roofing, locally owned, family operated, and proud to have earned 1,200 5-star reviews from families just like you. Call Newman Roofing today, 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit newmanroofing.com.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The show that understands the importance of a situational beverage. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey guys, when it comes to making a big decision like the ring, you don't wing it. That's why I trust my friends at Diamond Cellar. For nearly 80 years, their families help generations of couples celebrate life's biggest moments with exceptional quality, larger diamonds, and better value. And guys, here's the best part. They're going to walk you through it step by step, so you know you're getting it right. Whether you're ready to propose or ready to upgrade, visit Diamond Cellar, Sawmill Road, Easton Town Center. Learn more at diamondcellar.com. Tell them that Bo sent you. We were asked yesterday, I've been asked several times if we're going to review. So in the old days, we used to review Game of Thrones. There was times when we would review Yellowstone. Way back, AR and I reviewed, was it Sopranos? I can't remember. We did several of these where we would break down these and do winners and losers of the episode. And I'm open to it as long as it's something that demands it. I don't know if this does. I watched this episode last night. It was really good. There was a lot going on in it. Reese, did you watch?
I did.
Yeah. What'd you think?
It was fine. I'm not invested as much as I would have been, as I was in Game of Thrones. I was in the first season of House of the Dragon was fine. Second season was not as good. And then this season started off great because that episode was fun, but
yeah,
I just don't have the enthusiasm for the show, and I can't find anybody having the same kind of enthusiasm when discussing it online.
No, I don't even think it's like Yellowstone in that regard, where there was, maybe the numbers on this will be great and they'll surprise me, but Yellowstone was 15, 16 million people at its peak that were watching it on Paramount. network, which a lot of people didn't even know existed. Those are staggering numbers, and that's something that would cross over. It was wildly entertaining. It's dragons. It's all of that. I'll probably keep watching it. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be something that I'm going to be locked in every Sunday night. Probably something that I'll watch when I have time on Mondays, maybe. It was a really entertaining. I thought the production level was really high, but I think they failed in one thing that's really critical with this type of stuff, and that I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but if you want character, the loss of a character to hit, then I need to know him better. I got to know him better. I got to be invested. Bake, you said this yesterday. You're watching The Sopranos for the first time, and there's a villain who goes out unceremoniously at the end of season 2, and you're like, good Lord, where are we going to go from here? And then The Sopranos does a master class of like, oh yeah, hold our beer. How about this guy? Can I interest you in Ralph Cifaretto? And they were able to spin that forward in that series, and I feel like with this show, they're jamming so much story in such a short amount of time and so many characters spread out over such a great amount of space that I can't even remember. At several points last night, Reese, my wife, was like, now who are they with?
Mm-hmm. Same.
There's this incredible scene at the end, this crazy water battle, sea battle fight, and I was trying to remember who was representing who. And that's not good.
And who's dragons, who's right on the dragons, what are the dragons' names? Thankfully, we just watch things now with subtitles on everything. So you kind of you needed it. You have like notes and you're like trying to scribble down things, and we had to watch, I'd say, a 10-minute recap that HBO had, and then the recap before the episode, just so we were on the same page.
Yep.
Going into the episode, and nothing that they did in the first episode of the third season made me go, I can't wait till Sunday night.
Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't. I don't think so. Long answer short, we're not going to review it.
It did score a 9.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Yeah. So
I believe it. There wasn't a whole lot of downtime.
They did a great job. And I wonder, and so maybe that'll keep me coming. I mean, this time next week, maybe next Monday or Tuesday, I'll go for episode 2.
Right. Yeah.
But if you start like that, you've got to keep it up for 8, 9, 10 episodes.
Yeah. And 2 years between seasons is rough. That's something you didn't have to deal with Sopranos, Bake. Between one of those seasons. Between one of those seasons, I can't remember if it was I think it was between 5 and 6. They were off for over 2 years because there was a writer's strike. So you waited like 2 years to go back into this world.
So House of Dragon, excuse my ignorance here, is this a spinoff?
It's a prequel, yes. It's a prequel to the Game of Thrones series.
Supposed to be set 200 years before everything kicked off with Ned Stark.
Yeah.
So this is like, you got Star Wars, and then you get the preview.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. They tried to do it with The Sopranos. They did a Sopranos prequel movie.
It's like 4 hours, though.
It was too long, yeah. And, it was probably a little bit too long. So, yeah, I think we're probably going to not do it. So, we'll if this does 19 million, maybe we'll pay a little bit of attention to it. But I think we're probably not. One other thing I wanted to pay a little homage to, Linda Cohn retiring from ESPN. I did not realize that she anchored more sports centers than anybody. She joined ESPN in 1992 at the peak of the Sports Center era and anchored more sports centers than anybody in history. It makes sense, though, when you think about how long that she has been there. She was groundbreaking in a lot of ways, but I think the biggest thing that she was groundbreaking with is she was, especially, you got to go back to that time to put yourself in that position, to have a female Sports Center anchor who would give as good as she got. Like, she was she was a smart ass and had a little bit of that came into her. And she was the first female one. And that was at the time when Patrick and Oberman were doing all of that, and Rich Eisen and Stu Scott and Kilborn and all those guys were doing all those creative Sports Center stuff. She was thrust in the middle of it, and she hung in a big, big way. The only mistake I think they're making on this, guys, is she's doing her last Sports Center. She's doing all on Friday. Her last one is actually the 11 o'clock Sports Center. They should have made that the 6 o'clock Sports Center.
Yeah.
The 11 o'clock Friday, that's a nothing.
No, not for at least what they're trying to make this, and what this should deservedly be is the primetime Sports Center.
Yeah. It should be the 6 o'clock Sports Center, and then she gets the proper goodbye that she deserves. We'll hit hour 2 and the real truth coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Sleep Better Columbus can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Ever wonder where your go-to maintenance person gets the metal products they need to fix yours and everyone else's problems? The best in the business go to Metal Supermarkets for their wide variety of metal products and shapes to tackle projects from simple to complex. Metal Supermarkets is your source for all metals cut to size and ready fast. No minimum order with maximum service. Visit the family-owned franchise on North Wilson Road or at Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com.
Spring cleaning is when homes get a new twinkle in their eye,
a new spring in their step,
a new color in their cheeks.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We'll be there before you hang up the phone.
When that shiny truck from 1-800-GOT-JUNK arrives at your house,
it's a sign of a new beginning,
a clean start,
a breath of fresh air.
When your home feels clean and happy,
the people inside feel clean and happy too.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit us at 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Thinking about making the switch to hybrid or even all electric? Germain Honda of Dublin has you covered. Explore the Honda hybrid lineup, including the Accord Hybrid, CR-V Hybrid, and Civic Hybrid. Or experience Honda's all-electric Prologue SUV. You'll get the efficiency you want, the reliability Honda is known for, and great offers available across the lineup. See why more Central Ohio drivers are choosing Honda electrified vehicles at Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road or online at GermainHondaofDublin.com.
I'm Yolanda Harris. I'm a journalist at 10 TV News. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to verify, to volunteer. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
Nationwide Picnic with the Pops presents Winborn's The Music of Tom Petty. In one night, 4 decades of music. Take a journey through time with conductor Stuart Chaffetz and vocalist Jonah Bobo, backed by a live band as the Columbus Symphony performs Winborn's The Music of Tom Petty. Saturday, June 27th at Columbus Commons. Get tickets now at picnicwiththepops.com.
Your plate is full every morning, thanks to the $6 Tim's Trio from Tim Hortons. Freshly brewed coffee, a hearty breakfast sandwich with a freshly cracked egg, and a daily baked donut. All of that for just $6. Yeah, that is a full plate for sure, but it's one less thing on your plate to worry about. So enjoy it to its fullest. The $6 Tim's Trio, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons, at participating U.S. restaurants.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Hi, I'm Linda from Newburyport. I lost 20 pounds on Awaken 180. In my family, there's a history of type 2 diabetes. I've always carried more weight than I should. And my glucose levels had always been hovering at that pre-diabetic. My goal was to see if I can avoid becoming a diabetic after having been on the Awaken 180 program and getting the 20 pounds off. I am no longer pre-diabetic. And I am on a low dose high blood pressure medication. And in my last 2 physicals, my doctor has been sort of like, we may need to either cut back or we might even be able to at some point take me off. Awaken 180 is just one of those tools in my health toolkit. It's really easy.
Hey, it's Jeremy Birmingham from the Austin and Berm Show on 97.1 The Fan, and that's what this is really about. The numbers your doctor reads, not just the ones on the scale. Linda changed hers with Awaken 180 medication-free, and so did I. Yours could be next. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Sleep Better Columbus has been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results, and now has an office open in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The NBA drafts tonight at 8. The Milwaukee Bucks pick at 10. And now at 13, the Heat send 4 players, 4 picks, and a pick swap to the Bucks in exchange for Giannis Antetokounmpo and forward Bobby Portis. To get the Greek Freak, Miami gave up 4 picks, 4 players, and a future pick swap. Tyler Hero, the most known player, going from Miami to Milwaukee. In Brooklyn tonight, the Wizards pick at 1. Washington gave Trae Young a 4-year contract Monday worth $212 million. The Utah Jazz pick at 2. Memphis selects at 3. The Bulls pick at 4. BYU forward A.J. Dabansa and Kansas guard Darren Peterson are the favorites to go number 1 overall. The Cavs pick at 29. In baseball Monday, the White Sox walked off on the Guardians 6-5 in Chicago. Both teams back at it tonight at 7:40. In Cincinnati last night, Brewers beat the Reds 2-1 in 10. Both teams were scoreless after 9. They'll go in game 2 of a 3-game set tonight at 7:10. This update sponsored by RCDRV Supercenter in Heath, Delaware, and Pataskala, or at rcdrv.com.
The best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, we'll get to this in about 15 minutes from now, but the PGA Tour establishes new competitive structure with 2 series modeled to debut in 2028. What impact will that have on the Memorial Tournament? Here's the hint. Probably not much on that one, but it'll change the way golf is certainly viewed and watched and competed. So we'll have that for you in about 15 minutes from now. Let's kick it off, though, with the real truth. Hit it, guys.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years.
Without the 90s in college football at Ohio State, you don't get Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer. Is that the real truth?
It might be. It might be the real truth. I think there's a couple of layers to it, and we were having this conversation yesterday. It was brought on by a bunch of stuff that The Athletic was doing on the 90s in college football and how it kind of shaped the way that college football became the second most popular sport in this country over the last 15, 20 years or so. But all of the groundwork for that was really laid in the 90s when it became a true national sport. We were in the middle of the conversation about Ohio State in the 90s and some of the bitter pills that are involved in the 90s. And then we had the Dusty May stuff. So the premise here would be that everything that John Cooper was in the 90s and everything that Ohio State was in the 90s allowed for Tress and Urban. And the thinking behind that would be this, that the combination of John Cooper elevating the talent level that came through the door here at a level with which it hadn't seen since Woody in the 70s, and in a different manner than even Woody did it in the 70s, and that John Cooper made Ohio State a national brand. He made them a national recruiting power. He allowed them to go toe-to-toe at that time with Florida State and Nebraska and Miami and the best programs in the country, and they had a lot of wins. And so that allowed for an elevated talent level here that kept this job incredibly appealing. If they had missed on that, or if Coop hadn't found his sea legs, because the first few years are a struggle bus, if he hadn't found his sea legs in recruiting and in talent development and in talent acquisition during that time, who knows what happens to this job? I don't think this job ever would have become Nebraska. I don't think that that's ever possible. The infrastructure is just too great. We'll just never know. But I think the combination of John Cooper's ability to make this a national program, coupled, unfortunately for Coop, who I love, with his struggles against Michigan, allowed for the next 2 guys to follow him to almost be the perfect antidote for that. They took what he did in recruiting and then also applied it to dominance on the field. And in both instances, you have this incredible run against Michigan where in the totality of all those years, you lose, 3 times? Urban never lost, obviously. Tress lost once, and just twice, I guess, and then Fick lost once. So that's it. So I think there might be some truth to it that the 90s were necessary to get to where you ended up.
So I think this is the real truth with Jim Tressel. That if the 90s were different at all, and I kind of took it another way. If the 90s were different and Coop had won one, I think you miss out on Jim Tressel because John Cooper probably keeps his job a little longer. And who knows how long that eventually is. But I don't think you end up with Jim Tressel. I think that was the perfect time and the perfect window to bring him in here. I'm not so sure it means you don't get Urban Meyer because maybe that puts you at a time where Urban Meyer has just had his nice run at Bowling Green and maybe the job opens up and maybe Ohio State would say, hey, we're going to take a chance on this young upstart coach because although he wasn't young, they took a chance with Jim Tressel getting a guy from 1AA to come to town. And I don't think that'll ever happen again at Ohio State, quite frankly, where the program is now. So maybe there's a chance you get Urban Meyer, and you talk about Coop, and Coop kind of nationalized this program a little bit in the recruiting aspect, and Urban Meyer took that to a whole nother level. So that might have even been a really good transition from Cooper into Urban Meyer. So I think you could have gotten Urban Meyer, but I don't think Jim Tressel ends up here at Ohio State.
I think that's a pretty good job out of you on that, and you may have threaded the needle on kind of the real truth on all of that. It's a spectacular point. One I've made a lot on Tress, and it is stupefying to think like now that you would hire a 1AA coach to be the head coach at Ohio State. Now that used to be the path, like go to the lower levels, build your resume, and then get a shot at a big job. Now it's much, much easier to go be a coordinator. I mean, go look at all the coaching hires this year in major college football, whether it's, like Will Stein coming, Oregon offensive coordinator, Kentucky head coach. Like there are so many of those. Tosh Lapoy out at Cal. There's a lot of those where, like, if you're a coordinator on a good staff, that's like an easier path. We know Patricia was offered big time jobs this last offseason. So like there are those spots out there where that's like the easier path. I mean, conversely, like my guy at Montana State, Brett Vegan, who just won the national championship and is coming off a 4 or 5 year run where they were in the mix for the national title over and over again. I think he was going to interview for Cal or Oregon State. I can't remember, but he didn't get either one of those jobs. And so that's the other part of it that I think you're right. I think that Tressel that type of hire never happens again here.
And was it the Montana coach that just took a coordinator job somewhere, left and...
Yes.
Because he retired.
Yeah, he supposedly retired, but he ended up somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Could you imagine that, though? Could you imagine Ohio State right now hiring the coach from John Carroll or North Dakota State or, something like that? Like
even Youngstown State.
You couldn't imagine it.
No chance.
So Bobby Hauck, am I saying
Bobby
that name
Hauck,
correctly? So he's Illinois' defensive coordinator.
Okay. And he had 2 stints at Montana State, or Montana.
Montana, yep.
Won a national title years ago and then went to, or no, maybe came up just short in the national title and then went to UNLV and fell flat on his face and then returned to Montana. So, and
if I'm remembering it correctly, his retirement press conference was, I'm just tired of this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Speaking
that,
of...
by the way, is a hell of a choice. Missoula, Montana to Champaign, Illinois. Go do Google image searches on those 2 towns and you can't get 2 more different.
A little bit different lifestyle.
Slightly different, yeah.
Anything.
Topography.
Champaign-Urbana. Speaking of the senator, speaking of the vest, speaking of Ohio's lieutenant governor, Jim Tressel is going to be enshrined in Ohio Stadium's Ring of Honor on Saturday, September 5th against Ball State. His name and his accolades will go right up next to Woody Hayes near the south end zone of the stadium.
Is that some breaking news? Yeah, that just happened, right? Yeah, yeah.
10 o'clock this morning.
Whispers that this was in the offering and appropriate. It's a hell of a conversation about Tress, and we can have it in the next segment. Really cool, appropriate, and I think opens the door for some more things like this in Ohio Stadium. I think it's absolutely nuts, for example, that Orlando Pace's number is not up there. I think that is absolutely nuts. And I think there's a lot of guys here in the last 15 years who ought to be able to have their numbers up there. And I think Ohio State needs to kind of be open to something other than just the Heisman. The Heisman is such a specific award that is almost entirely won by quarterbacks. So difficult to win it if you're not. And to limit Ohio State greatness only to people who win the Heisman, I think they need to find another level of criteria on this thing. So congrats to Tress, and we can talk about his legacy coming up next. Go ahead.
I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago with most beloved coaches in Ohio State history, but I think it's fair to say the most beloved three figures in Ohio State football history are Archie Griffin, Woody Hayes, and Jim Tressel. Is that wrong to say?
The first two are a no-brainer. I think Tress is in the conversation. I mean, yeah, there's so many. You hate to... Like, Eddie is so beloved. Like, is Eddie more beloved than Tress?
I'll say no, just because...
I don't think so.
You guys think Tress is more?
Just because Tressel came from Youngstown State, and so he already had the love of that region. He just added on to it. Like, Tressel walks on water up there.
Oh, God, yeah. Yes, for sure. Yeah. Save this, because we're up against it a little bit. We can get into it. Because it's going to take more than the time that we have. So, Jim Tressel going in the Ring of Honor at Ohio Stadium. We will react to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Performance matters in intimate moments. Don't let ED ruin them. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and I want to assure you that if you're like the vast majority of guys, you don't have to suffer with ED anymore. In fact, you might be pleasantly surprised at how the right treatments could positively impact your love life. At Tri-State Men's Health, our advanced medical therapies go far beyond pills. We have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, and we offer specific and combinative treatments that can dramatically enhance both your performance and your stamina. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a far greater level of intimacy to both you and the one you love, perhaps performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and find out why our advanced treatment strategies offer so much more. Your first visit is just $99 and gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, advanced medical science to improve men's lives.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. Summertime's here, and that means it's the best time to upgrade. Why? Because you're running that AC in the house. If your windows are leaky and drafty, then all that good, expensive air that you're creating in there is cooling the outside. Right now, you buy 4 windows, you get 4 free. And the more windows you replace, the more you save. Plus, 48 months of 0% interest financing, same as cash. That's 4 full years to pay with no interest. 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com.
Hi, I'm Patty, founder of Awesome Tex. I started with a big idea to give old clothes a new life by turning them into recycled fibers and threads. Everyone told me that this was going to be impossible, but Chase for Business believed in me. They gave me a lot of guidance from the beginning.
Get financial guidance from bankers in the Columbus community and convenient digital tools all in one place. Learn more at chaseforbusiness.com. Make more of what's yours. Real customers compensated. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Tire Discounters has turned 50. In 1976, founder Chip Wood had 2 things, a mission and a mustache. One helped him start a business. The other helped him start a family. 50 years later, Tire Discounters is still owned by Chip's family, living by the golden rule, which means the Wood family treats you like you want to be treated, like family, but without all the bickering, of course.
I'm Meredith Garfalo, meteorologist at 10 TV News This Morning, and I'm an Ohio girl. I love golf, aerospace, and all things Ohio sports. For nearly 20 years, I've studied the patterns that shape our days, from winter wonders on the south side to dangerous storms along the I-71 corridor. When the weather changes, you'll be the first to know, because you need a forecast that moves as fast as you do. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Planning to buy a home in 2026? Not sure where to start? The Ohio Housing Finance Agency can help. With a step-by-step homebuyer's guide and financial tools, the Ohio Housing Finance Agency can make homeownership part of your future. Eligible homebuyers may qualify for down payment assistance and reduced mortgage interest rates. To see if you qualify and to find a mortgage lender, visit myohiohome.org.
Hey there, I'm Brad. I'm about to win the Tuesday Night Bowling League Championship. I'm also a highway worker for the Ohio Department of Transportation. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can bowl the winning strike with my buddies.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Think you know Buckeye football? These two say, hold my beer. The Beat with Austin and Berm.
Sponsored by the Waterworks.
Daily on the Fan's YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A sunshiny day for us today as daytime highs get into the upper 70s and then be very refreshing for us tonight with lows down into the 50s and mostly clear skies. For Wednesday, plenty of sunshine again and warmer. Daytime highs end up in the low 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Miss a little, miss a lot. Catch Bishop and Friends wherever you get your podcasts. It's free.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
The Fan. After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
And we are brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. Some breaking news here within the hour. Jim Tressel will go into the Ring of Honor at Ohio Stadium. The current lieutenant governor finished his Buckeye career 106-23. He was 63-15 in Big Ten play, just the one loss to Michigan. I think you can make the argument. In fact, I think I used him as the example a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Jalen Brunson of players who are so beloved in the place that they are and maybe not entirely appreciated everywhere else. We'll see if Brunson can cross over that. But I think if you ask folks like around the country over the last 30 years to name the 5 best coaches in college football, I don't know if Jim Tressel would get mentioned much in that. Conversely, if you ask people around here, who's your favorite coach of the last 50 years, other than save for Woody Hayes, I think Tress would probably win, and I think we've done this. I think he's more popular even than Urban. I'll be honest with you. To me, he's not, because for me, at doing the job we do, I liked Urban's candor. I liked asking him a question and getting an answer, and Tress didn't do that. I mean, he kept things very close to the vest, pun intended. He was a senator for a reason. You'd have these meandering press conferences that didn't say anything, but his job was not to pacify us. His job was not to create a soundbite. His job was to beat Michigan, and he did. And he was coming off of an era where they didn't. And to have that press conference that he had at the basketball game, where he talked about however many days you will be proud of our young men in the classroom, in the community, and most especially in Ann Arbor, Michigan, is one of the greatest flexes in the history of Ohio State athletics. It is one of the most iconic moments in the history of Ohio State athletics. It is something that if you don't pay off on that, my God, do you look foolish. And he didn't. He paid off as big as possible. And it's almost like that moment is remembered as much as what they did against Miami 2 years later when they won the national title, in the most improbable of ways. They were 2 touchdown dogs to an iconic Miami team and won in one of the most improbable ways in one of the most improbable seasons. Holy Buckeye, all of it. There was so much winning. There was controversy, obviously, with Maurice and then Troy and then inevitably with Terrell. But when you talk to the guys who played for him, and this is something that I hope that he gives us a little bit of when this is made possible. I think this is going to happen in the opener, right?
Yep, September 5th.
So when this happens, I hope that we get to see a human side of Jim Tressel. I hope that you get to see, because I can't imagine what this means to him. He's a coach's kid. He's a coach's kid. And to have his name as the only coach in that place other than Woody Hayes, that's real. And I hope that he gives all of us a little window into what it actually means to have this honor.
A little bit, I think. I think he'll deflect to everybody who helped make that possible, who helped make his coaching success at Ohio State possible, because that's the kind of person he is. And it's incredible to think of the journey that he's been on since leaving Columbus. It's incredible to think of the journey from Youngstown State to Columbus and what some of his teams, the memories that they bring for a lot of us. Certainly my more formative years are the game and the national championship win over Miami, but just the journey that he went to Indianapolis after Ohio State, and then he was university vice president at a couple spots, and now he's the lieutenant governor of the state.
Yeah.
Like, what title do they use first?
I think
it's a great question.
I think that you hit the nail on the head, Bo, with why he's so beloved here. Is he came in and he called his shot.
Yeah.
And they weren't great that first season with Tress. They went 7-5. But by God, they did what he said they were going to do. And they went to Michigan and they beat Michigan, and you had not had success against Michigan really for a long, long time. And then you follow that up in year 2 with the first national championship here since 1968.
Yep.
And then he went 11-2. Then he had an 8-4 year. There was a 10-3 year in there. He got to 2 more national championship games, and he lost those. But by God, he came in and he did what he said he was going to do. And he went, 7-1, 8-1 against Michigan, 9-1, however long he was here. He only lost one of them to them. And I think that one loss was that in
03, right?
03?
03, 04, somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 03 because he came in and won the first 2, and then I think he lost that third year and never lost to him again. And I also think people, and it's one of the pretty cool things about Ohio State and college football that you can win in different ways. We talked about Coop. He kind of made it a more national program. Tress kind of went back to, they still got some quality kids from outside of the state, but he kind of put a fence around Ohio and locked Ohio down and really did it with Ohio kids. Troy Smith was the last guy in a recruiting class that they brought in as an athlete, and he ended up being maybe the best Ohio State quarterback of all time. And he won with Ohio kids.
You're right. And I think the very first, I wasn't here at this time, but was following recruiting and paying attention to all of it. And you got to remember, for the kids out there, you're coming off of Michigan's dominance of the rivalry in the 90s and the bitter pill that all of that is. But on top of that, you're coming off of a decade that saw Michigan win 2 Heismans, won by Ohioans. I mean, that's a bitter pill. I mean, Charles Woodson's from Fremont and Desmond's from Cleveland. And these were Ohioans who went to Michigan and won the Heismans. And in the instance of Charles, had one of the greatest seasons in the history of college athletics that culminated with the national championship. So you're coming off of all of that. And it's his second recruiting class that has Mike DeAndrea and Maurice Claret and Justin Zwick and all of those guys. Bob and AJ are in that class, correct? All those guys. That whole group, that class, set it off. And it was like, oh, that's what Ohio State's going to be going forward. And then it just followed. It followed. Whether it's, Beanie Wells, you mentioned Troy Smith, Teddy Ginn, like all of these guys who stayed and created this. And he really was the first instrument of the complete neutering of Michigan, because his ability to beat Lloyd Carr and led to Carr being pushed out at Michigan way before his time, which led to the panic hire of Rich Rodriguez, which led to Brady Hoke, and inevitably they got it back right with Harbaugh. But it led to kind of all of this dominance was what he did to Lloyd Carr. And Lloyd Carr never lost to Ohio State before. Like, that's not what he did. And then all of a sudden he couldn't beat him. And it kind of led to the end of that from the Michigan perspective. There is a lot to Jim Tressel's life. There's a lot to it. The dominance at Youngstown State is pretty crazy when you think about how long he was there. He takes the job at Youngstown State in 1986. He's there until 2000. Won 4 national titles in that stretch. I remember a buddy of mine when he was hired here, and we were down in Florida at the time, and his dad was an Ohio State alumnus, and he really wanted Glenn Mason to be the coach at Ohio State to replace John Cooper. And it ended up between those two. Dom will tell the story in 5 minutes when we have him on. He was all over this entire hiring process. But he really wanted Glenn Mason because Glenn Mason was winning at Minnesota. And it was like, well, if you can win at Minnesota, man, just imagine. Mason was a Buckeye, like Tress isn't a Buckeye, like all of those things. And I knew Tress because as a fan of Montana State, but my brother loved Montana. Montana played Youngstown State a lot in the 1AAs. I think they lost a national championship game to them, but they were always in the mix. It was Youngstown State, Montana, and Marshall were and Georgia Southern. Those are like the big 1AA teams that were winning national titles at that time. But Tress was pretty dominant. He won 4 national titles from 91 to 97 at Youngstown State. So, yeah, you want to talk about beloved here? That's baby stuff alongside of the love that he gets from that corridor of Ohio. That is some tremendous amount of love that he has up there. And an iconic, I mean, you think about his dad's record and his dad at Baldwin Wallace, like all of these things. It's tremendous. I think it's really cool. And like I said, when we first started talking about this about 15 minutes ago, I hope this leads to a little bit more because I do think others beyond Heisman Trophy winners should go in there. And obviously you're going to put Urban in too at some point because of his accomplishments. So I think this pleases me a great deal because I think you need to have more legends in that ring.
Yeah, that's the next name that goes up there next to Woody's, next to Tressel's, next is Urban. And then for Orlando Pace, I think players should wear 75, but you've got to recognize the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, I mean, guys wear 10.
You've got to recognize. And I think there's also, and we'll get to Tony Petiti in the next hour, but there's deliverables on those if you would like to sponsor legacy jerseys, right? Like you can add more patches to that and you can create more revenue. I did want to say about Tressel and the legacy is the people, right? He has the book You Win with People. But think of who he has, when you hear guys like James Laurinaitis, when you hear guys like Marcus Freeman, when you hear them talk about life and how it connects to football, they're from the Jim Tressel playbook. Like that, the impact that he's had on people and the people that have come from Tressel that will have impacts on future generations, I think is as special as anything he's done, even winning on the field.
I don't think it's a surprise to buttress your point that probably one of the most powerful coaches in college football now is one of his disciples, and Marcus Freeman. And I think that it's likely at some point, whenever Ryan does step down, that Threes could be the head coach here. And I don't think that's by coincidence because there is a way that he taught you how to be a human that is something that I think all of us who are dads or coaches or anything aspire to.
Just a quick story on Jim Tressel from somebody that I know. I had a buddy I went to high school with, and he went to Youngstown State to pitch on a partial scholarship. Wasn't even a full scholarship player. But he went there to pitch, and he said he was walking down the hall his first year, and he passes Jim Tressel, who was not only the football coach then, but the athletic director. And he passes him, and they kind of, he nods at Tress. He knew who Tress was, obviously. Yeah. And he said he gets about 10 steps past him, and he says he hears a voice from behind him. Says, "Hey, you're Clint, right?" Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Yeah." And Tress was like, "Hey, we're glad to have you here," and like even knew something about his family or his past or something and brought that up. And this was a kid who was going to play baseball, not football, and wasn't even a full ride, was a partial scholarship. And Tress knew that much about him already.
Yeah, that's a little bit about the man, for sure. Dom knew him well. He and I hosted those coaches shows for a lot of years. We will get to that coming up in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Nothing feels better on a hot summer day than coming home to a nice air-conditioned house. If your AC is on the fritz, don't sweat it. Call the pros at the Waterworks Heating and Cooling. We service all makes and models and can provide great savings on a Lennox home comfort system that delivers that perfect feeling. The Waterworks Heating and Cooling Services. Call us at 614-232-2222 and schedule fast service today. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like customer service associate at a dry cleaning shop.
Yeah, hi. I'm here to pick up my suit.
Ah, yes. Here you go.
There must be a mistake. This is too small.
It shrunk a whole lot. Look on the bright side. Now you have a suit you can give to a child.
This is your time for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Need a new ride before summer hits full speed? Head to Germain Honda of Dublin, where the Honda SUV lineup is ready for your next adventure. Choose from the versatile Honda HR-V or the always popular Honda CR-V with a great selection of gas-powered models available right now. Plus, well-qualified buyers can take advantage of some of Honda's best lease offers of the year. Whether you're commuting across Columbus or planning a weekend road trip, there's a Honda SUV built for the journey. Visit Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road or shop online at GermainHondaofDublin.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Sponsored by Green & Sons. Find your next Kubota tractor at Green & Sons, located in Mount Sterling and north of Marysville, and online at greenandsons.com.
Well, hey, buddy, you see this news, Tress going in the Ring of Honor at the Shoe.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I could not agree more with that. What a job throughout his entire career. You know, I first met Jim Tressel when he was an assistant coach for Earl Bruce back in the day. Mm-hmm. Nick Saban was on that staff back then. And you think about where he's come and what he's done and everything he's been through, I couldn't be happier. And I'm a huge fan of Jim Tressel, always have been, and it makes sense to put him in there. I think there'll be a place one day for Urban Meyer there. I personally think John Cooper and Old Bruce should be in there. Those guys are all legends in my mind.
Take me through, you told this story to me all the time, and this was back in a time when breaking the news really mattered. And you had Tress, right? Because it was between Tress and Glenn Mason. Do I have that right?
Right. Yeah. It was Glenn Mason and Jim Tressel, and Tress, of course, was at Youngstown State, and we had talked a lot, and I don't know. Andy Geiger just saw something in him, and the president, Brick Kerwin, who was the president at the time, saw something in Tress. And, Tress was from a football family. I played against his dad when his dad was at Baltimore Wallace. And and then he gets the job. And, I will never forget what he said at that basketball game. Were
you there, Donnie?
I can't remember. It all comes. Yeah, I think I was. Yeah, I was. I mean, where he says, "And you'll be most proud of us," and whatever many days against that team up north in Ann Arbor, and he lost. It's funny. You talk to Tress to this day, and he will tell you that. He had one loss against Michigan, and he said that's the one that that sticks out to him, that bothers him the most, But you think about that year that he had, the magical year where they won the national title. Think about how many games they could have lost that year.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. And then now you think of what he's done in his next career as the lieutenant governor. I think he would have made a great governor, but that's a whole another animal. But you think about what this guy's done throughout his career as a football coach, a college president, a lieutenant governor. I mean, he's the Renaissance man, isn't he?
He really is. It's a crazy post-coaching career because I always felt, I don't know if you felt, but I always felt at that time when like the Tatgate and all that stuff happened, if that doesn't happen, I think he probably had a couple more years at Ohio State, probably would have played out my hunch was he would have, Terrell's last year and maybe one or two more, and then he was going to move. I thought he was always going to move into administration at Ohio State. He was reaching the end anyway when that happened, was kind of always my read of it, buddy.
Right, and I think so, and I think he would have been an incredible fundraiser, and he's remained an incredible fundraiser. I mean, he's raised a lot of money for Ohio State. He's been involved with the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. You think about what he did at Youngstown State. He spent some time at Akron. And then, you think about what you brought up. That whole thing was nonsense. It was just crazy. And especially when you look at what's going on today in college football and you think about what happened to Tress, it's ridiculous.
It was just such a different era. In that era, the idea was you had to get ahead of everything, remember? And it just was such a weird time. And yeah, obviously now none of that stuff would ever happen. Was there any pushback around here that they hired a guy from 1AA?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. A lot of people like, who's this guy, they had, one of the guys that everyone thought was going to be, I think he was at Oregon at the time, was Bellotti. Remember him?
Bellotti, that's right. Yeah, he was in the mix too early.
He was one of the front runners, and they had a couple other big names. And then lo and behold, here's this guy named Jim Tressel. And obviously there was a huge push here for Glenn Mason. Glenn was at Minnesota and, an Ohio State guy. But, Tress had Ohio State ties, too. People forget that. He grew up in the state of Ohio, although he played himself for his dad at Baltimore Orioles. But he was on Earl Bruce's staff here. And it's kind of like Urban Meyer, Ohio guy, But, a lot of people thought it should have been Glenn Mason, and then didn't go that way. And I think a lot of people were surprised when it was Tress, because you're right. He's coming from Youngstown State. But Ohio State, if you look, where'd Woody Hayes come from when he came to Ohio State,
Right, Miami, and yeah, I mean it's the way that all of this stuff works. I was curious from a you mentioned like Urban, and I'm with you. Urban's going to go in the ring at some point. Dami, I also think like it's pretty crazy that somebody like Orlando Pace isn't in there. I think you got to. I know you can't put them all in, right? Because otherwise there's not enough room. They got too many legends. But I do think there's an echelon of athlete here that maybe didn't win the Heisman for whatever reason, but probably needs to be up there in some way. And I do think, I hope that they're open to that a little bit. I hope that they open it beyond just guys who won the Heisman.
And I agree. I mean, Orlando, you could make an argument maybe he was the greatest lineman they ever had. Here's a guy that was in New York as a Heisman finalist. I mean, you think about a guy named John Hicks, who won the Outland, won the Lombardi, and finished second in the Heisman, Yeah. I mean, you got there's a lot of special guys out there. And I know if it was up to me, I'd put all of them in there because, a lot of those guys are my friends, Sure. I mean, I think about all that. You get close to these guys and you get relationships with them and all that. Coop and Earl were like my second dads, I mean, I love those guys. Urban Meyer, what he did for me when we lost Maria and Tress, and it's amazing. And now you got Ryan Day, who's just, a top shelf. So that's the one part with retiring. I reflected on all that. Mm-hmm. It's amazing when you think about some of the great people that we've had the opportunities to cover and see. And, obviously the biggest was Woody Hayes, and his name's in there. But Jim Tressel, what he has done throughout his career, he definitely deserves to be in there. He's a fan favorite. And, he just... It reminds me a little bit of Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus never turned an autograph down. If you asked for an autograph, he was going to sign, and that was Jim Tressel. That is Jim Tressel.
So I went on another note. I drove by Blood Prison Sunday.
Yes.
Mansfield. Yes. I'll do it in the day. I'm not doing it at night.
We're going there, me and you.
No, I'm doing it in the day. I'm not doing it at night. I'll go 10 a.m. I'm not
you
going
and I
at
are
night.
going to go. We're going to go. No. And we'll bring cameras and we'll video it.
It's fine.
We'll bring
in the day.
We'll bring some professionals that are paranormal people with us.
When's the last time you were by there?
They're scientists.
I know. When's the last time you were by there, Skinwalker Ranch?
I haven't been in a while, but we'll go. And,
you're going to be scared out of your mind by this place. It is creepy.
Because it's science. We'll bring some paranormal scientists with us.
Great.
Yeah. It's like the Sasquatch people finding Bigfoot, and it's all tied together. I'm telling you, like that. Have you ever watched Finding Bigfoot? That guy, Bobo, Dr. Bobo. He's a man that he mimics the voices of Sasquatch. He screams it out, and he's a scientist. His just name happened to be Bobo.
So I'm curious, Dr. Bobo, on the scientist part of it, how does he know what a Sasquatch sounds like?
Because he has seen them. He just doesn't have the video proof, but he's been out there and he's habitated.
It's hard to find cameras these days. There aren't many apparatuses that have cameras.
Well, a lot of times, some of the video, if you've ever seen much of it, is very shaky because people get so emotional.
Yeah.
They say it's like an emotional reckoning when you see Bigfoot, and you shake a little bit.
It's pretty amazing.
A little blurry and shaky.
It always is like that, isn't it? Which is odd because these cameras.
It's a phenomenon. It's called the Bigfoot phenomenon. You get shaky.
You can video the grandbabies and you can have it in 10 times slow-mo if you want, but somehow when it comes to Bigfoot, we're always shooting on film.
It's the Zapruder film.
Always. It's always the Zapruder film with Bigfoot. Every time. Everybody's got a camera from 1963. No one pulls out a camera phone.
I didn't have my phone with me, but I had this 8mm.
All right.
You know?
Yeah. All right. I'm doing it with you, but I'm doing it in the day. I'm not going there at night. And don't you dare bring those grandbabies. I do not want to expose them to that place.
But we have to, if there's anyone out there listening, and you do have a huge following. I played in the Buckeye Boosters. People love you. By the way, I found out that I'm not 30 anymore. I played with a bunch of 30-year-olds. I had good drives, and they outdrove me by 100-plus yards. Dr. Ben and the boys, they were like hamming. It was amazing.
What tee boxes were you playing?
They made me play whatever. I should have been on the senior.
Yes, you got to move up like Earl.
They said I got to be 70. I'm 67.
No, anything over 60. No, they did you poor. They did you dirty. You go to those front tees, buddy.
I should have been, but these guys were just waving on me, just boom, goodbye. But anyways, yes, we will. But you're very popular. So if someone out there is a paranormal doctor like Dr. Bobo, please reach out to Bo and I. We would like you to take us and do a scientific study there.
All right, I'm in, but it's in the morning.
All right.
I'm not going at night. I'll see you.
Goodbye.
Do thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Amazon Business. With smart business buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
At Bank of America, we support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge. What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/Game Changers, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Hey, it's Common Man. Everybody's talking about affordability these days, but the good news is you'll find hundreds of vehicles that fit your budget at GoGermain.com. Drive home in a new sedan starting at just $139 a month. New SUVs from only $189 a month, or a truck for as low as $329. Plus, choose from over 1,700 new and pre-owned vehicles, all priced under $30K, and it's only at GoGermain.com. And with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Go see my friends today. GoGermain.com.
Turn up the heat on your savings and earn up to 3.75% APY until April 2027 with a high-rate money market account during Kemba Financial Credit Union's limited-time Summer Boost Special. This high-earning, no-nonsense account will put your cash to work while you're living your best summer. Offer expires July 31st, 2026. Visit Kemba.org. Restrictions apply. Advantage status and $5,000 minimum balance required to obtain APY. Max $1 million. APY equals annual percentage yield. Federally insured by NCUA.
Relax and let Kroger Delivery handle your grocery shopping this week. We start with only the freshest items. Then we carefully pack your order in our refrigerated trucks. so your food stays cool and fresh on its way to your door. And right now, you can save $30 on your first pickup or delivery order and get unlimited free delivery. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Craving the O?
Now it comes to you. For loyal fans, the O on Lane is now offering the O on the Go catering delivery. Perfect for the office or any group. Order boxed lunches or group catering right now at theoonlane.com. The O on the Go, delivered fresh, delivered easy.
I can't raise my arms. I can't climb stairs. I can't kneel down, which means I can't play with the kids, golf with the guys, or get through a workday without an exhausting pain. Hey, it's Tyvis, and I'm here to celebrate what you can do. And that's exactly what QC Kinetics patients are doing. Not bracing for the next jolt of pain. It's gone. They've moved on back to living their lives. You heard me talk about Dr. Tesner and the team at QC Kinetics and how they helped me get my knee pain to go away. No missing work, no surgery, no long recovery. And I love hearing from you. How we here at The Fan helped you dig out from under that long list of can'ts and get back to living your best life. So go find out what you can do. It's a good life out there, folks. Go live it to the fullest. Let's get rid of that pain. Starting now, the consultation is totally free to see if you're a good candidate. Offices in Dublin and Gahanna. Call 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
If only there was a radio show that constantly talked about Ohio State athletics. Well, good news. It's real, baby. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and $2 tall boys. All day, every day.
Bo could quit today and become the school drop-off line coordinator. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher reported Monday the Trailblazers would be waiting with open arms to trade with the Washington Wizards for Anthony Davis. Fisher notes it's plausible Washington moves AD this offseason. The 33-year-old Davis was dealt by the Mavericks in February. He failed to play in a single game because of a hand injury. He now appears to be all but publicly pressuring the Wizards to trade him again. Contractually, Davis is owed $58.5 million next season and has a $62.8 million player option for 27-28. Thing or not a thing?
Well, half of it's a thing. Like, I can see Anthony Davis wanting to be traded. I mean, he's hurt all the time, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be part of a rebuild in Washington. Honestly, I think their setup with Trae Young and DeBonsa and Davis is a little bit more fun, competitive team in the East. So I guess that part is an interesting one. There's no scenario where he would be happy in Portland. None. So then you'd have to say, well, like, where is a landing place that he would be happy, that could have the give back, on the other end? That's where it gets a little bit tricky. I know that he loved L.A. I don't know a scenario how the Lakers could get him back there in any sort of deal that would pull that off. I was looking around the league. Is there anybody else that's got young talent that would want an oft-injured, ultra-expensive player? It's a short list, I think, compared to what it would be. When he's healthy, he's damn good. He's just not healthy very often.
Yeah, and that's why this isn't a thing to me. We're a long ways away from the Anthony Davis we saw at Kentucky. We're a long ways away from the COVID championship. that he won with LeBron. He's just not on the court enough. And I don't know how anybody can have that albatross of a contract just sitting on their bench for over half of the season. So until Anthony Davis is out there for 60 games in a year and a whole playoff run, this is just not a thing.
On a recent episode of The Closer podcast, former Browns defensive back Joe Hayden explained how quickly he blew through his rookie contract.
I signed 5 years, $50 million. I get 26.6 guaranteed. My first year in the league, I make $12.6 million. I get a $12 million signing bonus, $7 million, right off the rip. I think I signed for $50 million. Everybody here is like, Joe signed $50 million. He got $50 million. I gave my mom and dad $3 million.
Ooh, that's a flex right there.
Yeah, gave my mom and dad $3 million after taxes, basically $6 million. Gave my mom and dad $3 million. Boom, y'all can have that. Then bought my mom and dad $1 million house. So now basically that's giving mom and dad $3 million cash, $5 million. Me and my little brothers, and obviously little bros need whips. Buy all my little bros whips. Then me. I got $50 million now, don't I? You know what I'm saying? So I caught me a nice penthouse. I get me a penthouse and 2 whips. Give me a Range Rover Sport and a Bentley GT. Off the rip. You know what I'm saying? So now, bro, looking at 12.6, there's really 7. That's now after my folks and everything. Well, that's like what you got in the bank? $1 million?
$1 million.
Just the easy way the math goes like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to start really get hip, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can see how people that aren't hip, you signed a 2 for $10 million. You think I got 10? Bitch, your ass ain't got that.
Thing or not a thing?
I mean, he just laid out what happens all too often. The $3 million. The $3 million cash to the folks is crazy. That's crazy. In addition to $1 million house. I mean, that is crazy when you think about that. It feels like he didn't have a real understanding of how taxes worked either. And that's something, honestly, we talked about Jim Tressel. That's something Jim Tressel really wanted to do if he ever went to the NFL, is he wanted to educate young NFL players on how to manage their money, handle their money. They get this massive, and it's not just the NFL, it's NBA, all of it. The difference is the NFL contracts aren't guaranteed. But they just have no idea. None of us would. I wouldn't know when I was that age, I wouldn't know what to do with that. And I'm sure I would have done a lot of stupid things with it too. So, I mean, it's a story that's told far too often. The good news for Joe Hayden is he got a couple more big contracts, and so he's more than fine. But a lot of guys don't. They get the first one, and that's it.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Bo, it's a story that happens all too often. If I was a college coach, I would make sure that not only would we be in team activities educating our kids about finances, I would make all of them take business and finance classes. And these aren't ones like you can just wade through. You need to pay attention to these. Yeah. That way that you're prepared a little bit. Like, I always think of what kind of shape I would be in if 18-year-old me knew what I knew now as about money that I didn't even care about back then. Like, you're a kid. You're like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it can help you a lot. So I would make sure if I was a college coach now, I would promise these families that I'm going to educate these kids on this business side of things.
I saw this at 11 Warriors First. So EA Sports College Football 2027 comes out July 2nd. That's if you've got the early access. For the regular folk out there, July 9th. Ohio Stadium is the second toughest place to play. They unveiled their list of 25 toughest places to play Monday. Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge is number 1. Then it's Ohio Stadium, Beaver Stadium, Sanford Stadium, Bryant-Denny Stadium round out the top 5. Thing or not a thing?
I've often said Ohio State on a big game at night can go toe-to-toe with anything. It can go toe-to-toe in the Michigan game, no matter, it's always at noon. You can go toe-to-toe. But the big game at night, it can hang with anybody. And the problem with Ohio State doesn't – I'm cool to see it gets the respect that it deserves here. But far too often it's judged on those 3:30 noon kicks that aren't the Michigan game. I've been to all of the places. I'm pretty sure. You mentioned what? Sanford, Bryant-Denny, Beaver, Tiger, and so I've been to all of those. Baton Rouge at night is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It's probably a little louder. Beaver Stadium at night is probably a little louder. Beaver Stadium, it's because of the proximity. They're right on you. There's no sideline space at all. One that's really loud when they're really good is Florida. Florida is as loud as any when they're good because of the way that stadium is built. There's no room on the sidelines or in the end zones for anything. You're right on it. So those ones are slightly louder, but you juxtapose that to difficult place to play also means you're playing a really good team, and I think it's very appropriate. Ohio Stadium at night, when the Buckeyes are great, playing a big game is as loud as anywhere.
When I think of tough environments and places to play, I think of LSU. I think of a whiteout at Penn State. I think from growing up, some of those crowds you used to see at Virginia Tech, they were insane. Some of the crowds you've seen at Texas A&M from over the years. When it's a big matchup in the shoe, though, the shoe's as good as anywhere. Yeah, it's very, very good. We've got a new PGA Tour coming. We've got a dozen years with my buddies from New Jersey and Maryland. We will kick it off there. That's coming up in the final hour. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Say goodbye to car care headaches with Carvenience from Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. For only $49, we'll pick up your vehicle, leave you with a rental, and return it fully serviced and spotless. No more juggling your schedule or wasting hours at the shop. Carvenience lets you focus on what matters while we take care of all the rest, making life easier. Schedule your service today at HindererMotorCompany.com.
Newman Roofing is proud to sponsor The Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat fan drive. Help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. Purchase new box fans and take them to the nearest Franklin County fire station or buy online. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
How many of you have had your garage floor done? I'll wait for the answer. Yeah, that's enough. How many of you think it looks like crap? That's because it is crap. One quick call to Comer & Cross Concrete Floor Coatings at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, and they can install a gleaming new Comer & Cross garage floor in one day. A Comer & Cross garage floor is the gold standard. It's like pulling into a new car showroom every night. And here's the best part. It is guaranteed your garage floor will never chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. And listen, you lazy bum, they'll even take the stuff out of the garage for you. They're all certified uniform pros. No subcontractors at Comer & Cross. This is a premier product with premier results, and they hired a premier endorser to tell you about it. For your quick and easy Comer & Cross garage floor quote, call 1-800-NEW-FLOOR now. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, or go to comercross.com, C-O-M-E-R cross.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like customer service associate at a dry cleaning shop.
Yeah, hi. I'm here to pick up my suit.
Ah, yes. Here you go.
There must be a mistake. This is too small.
It shrunk a whole lot. Look on the bright side. Now you have a suit you can give to a child.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
This 4th of July week, Championship Golf takes center stage in Columbus. From July 2nd through 5th, the 46th U.S. Senior Open Championship comes to Scioto Country Club. where legends of the game meet hallowed grounds that don't play favorites. Feel the energy, the tradition, and the pressure of championship golf at its finest. Be there for every moment. Tickets are available now on SeatGeek.
Get Eco.
When your drain is clogged, our drain team will clear it for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it will stay clear for at least a year, or we'll clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
Go to geteco.com.
When you first saw her, she was out walking her dog. You didn't notice her at first. But when you finally did, it was too late. Because at that moment, you were speeding. She was out walking her dog and only had a second to let go of the leash. Your foot was on the gas, and her life was on the line. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey friends, if you want to witness the world's biggest soccer tournament in person, well, look no further than Twin Peaks. Enter the Twin Peaks Go for Gold giveaway presented by Michelob Ultra and Casamigos, and you could be one of 5 grand prize winners who get the VIP treatment plus travel and lodging. For your chance to win unmatched views of the match, visit TwinPeaksSoccer.com to enter and choose your host city. Entries close June 14th, so don't wait. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. We're 74 days away from Ohio State football opening the 2026 season, hosting Ball State Saturday, September 5th at 12:30. Ohio State's going to honor Jim Tressel at that game with a Ring of Honor enshrinement at Ohio Stadium. His name and record will go up next to Woody Hayes near the south end zone of the shoe. In basketball, the NBA drafts tonight in Brooklyn. The Wizards are on the clock. BYU forward A.J. Debanza and Kansas guard Darren Peterson are the favorites to go number 1 overall. The Utah Jazz pick at 2. The Grizzlies have the 3rd pick. The Milwaukee Bucks have picks 10 and 13. The latter, was acquired last night from the Heat in exchange for 10-time All-Star Giannis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee also got 2 more first-round picks and 4 players, including Tyler Hero. In baseball Tuesday, the Reds look to bounce back against the Brewers. They're back at Great American tonight at 7:10. You can hear that game on The Fan following the Buckeye Show. This update is sponsored by RCDRV Supercenter in Heath, Delaware, and Pataskala, or at rcdrv.com.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
A lot going on today. We had Jim Tressel in the second hour heading into the Ring of Honor and spent some good time on that. Talked with Dami about that as well. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts. Although we've also put it up on social. We also had the news that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet that the PGA Tour Board has approved a series of recommendations for future competitions committee, ushering a new competitive structure. 2 distinct series of tournaments are going to debut for the 28th season. The new model is built upon the foundation of meritocracy, with players moving between the 2 series. So this is European soccer model, the PGA Tour Championship Series and the PGA Tour Challenger Series. And so you'll play kind of in between on those. The new system begins at the top. PGA Tour Championship Series offering a consistent schedule of playing opportunities for the best players in the world. It will feature approximately 23 to 24 events, inclusive of the Players' Championship, the majors, and international team events. So when you hear 23, 24, that includes the 4 majors and the players. So that's really like 18, 19 tour stops is the way that I would read that, with the season running approximately from February to August. I think so. Essentially, the best players in the world are going to be done playing golf in August competitively. That's what this is going to be. So they're not moving the PGA Tour at all in terms of the PGA Championship. The PGA Tour has lined up an initial set of 10 of its expected 15 PGA Tour Championship Series regular season events. So 10 are locked in. There's nothing here that they don't name the 10. I'm sure Memorial is one of them. The remaining events will be either filled by existing events or new markets under consideration. They mentioned Boston, Denver, New York, Philly, San Francisco, Seattle, and D.C. as the potential spots for those. The Challenger Series, how it works, will be played concurrently with the PGA Tour Championship Series and will feature fields of approximately 144 players with the ability to reduce field sizes due to restrictions. Each tournament will be played across 72 holes, so forth and so on. The Championship Series will be smaller fields yields more money. But if you're successful in this, you can move up to the other one. I know we live in a world where we're supposed to, anything new we feel like we want to poo-poo. I think this is fine. My only beef here is that the best players in the world are done playing golf in August. It's kind of the only negative, but I think everything else is probably a win here. And I think the idea of promotion and relegation might actually work. Rory commented about this, excuse me, last week. And what he was worried about was these Tier 2 events. So I guess what he was referring to was the Challenger Series events, and that some places that have been PGA Tour stops are going to be Challenger stops, and they're going to take a massive step back.
Does it have anything about the Korn Ferry Tour and how that plays into it, or does the Korn Ferry just stay its own and then you get promoted up to? This has Legends and Leaders vibes to it as well.
Yeah, I think my hunch would be that there would still be Korn Ferry into Challenger into Championship.
Okay.
That would be my guess. I mean, we're digesting this in real time, but that's my hunch.
So Brian Rolap's also going to take over as the new PGA Tour commissioner in January of 2027. So I think I forget what his title is. I'm seeing Tiger Woods as the chairman of the Future Competition Committee.
Yeah.
I guess it's good to see Tiger involved with this. He had a statement that he put out on Twitter earlier this morning, probably the first thing he's had since the crash. So I guess if they've got the biggest names in golf promoting this and backing this, you can only think, okay, that's the health of the tour, the health of the future of golf is in the right hands.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I worry about this for the PGA Tour is if you're telling us these events don't matter, why should we care?
What do you mean? The Challenger Series events or the championship events?
Yeah, like the ones like you're saying, okay, these ones really matter, these ones not so much.
Well, they matter to the people that are on them. I mean, it's hard in America because the reason this works in Europe is because if you are at Wrexham, let's take Wrexham as an example. If you're at Wrexham, you're not so concerned that they're not the best. You root for your club, right? In this country, we're used to seeing the very best. So I think you bring up something that is kind of embedded in us as Americans, that it's hard for us to watch something that we know isn't the best. And so, yeah, that's kind of what Rory was talking about when he addressed this last week at the U.S. Open, that was his concern as well. From the release here, the key to how the two series work together will be the opportunity for clear promotion and relegation. At minimum, the top 90 finishers of approximately 130 PGA Tour Championship players will be fully exempt for the following season, while those who fail to retain membership may risk relegation to the PGA Tour Challenger Series. Similarly, a minimum of 20 players from the PGA Tour Challenger Series will be promoted to the PGA Tour Championship the following season. By the way, now that I just read that, there is no Korn Ferry Tour. That's gone.
So okay.
I think that's because you're talking about 130 PGA Tour Championship players, another 140 PGA Tour Challenger Series. I don't know. I mean, would a Korn Ferry even still exist at that point? And then I'd have to wonder if, because we always have the Korn Ferry stop here at Scarlet, I wonder if it gets into this Challenger Series. So there will be two opportunities for PGA Tour Challenger Series players to earn immediate promotions to the PGA Tour Championship by winning multiple PGA Tour Challenger Series events within the same season by winning a major championship. So that is it. There's also going to be a last chance series featuring 4 to 6 events played in the fall, where a limited number of spots on the PGA Championship Series for the following season will be available. The PGA Tour will continue to contest our annual Q Tournament Q School to provide access across PGA Tour ecosystem, including the PGA Tour Challenger Series, a last is in the developmental pathways. The model positions for the PGA Tour for the future. Roll-up says our focus now shifts to finalizing deals and preparing for implementation for 2028. I think let's just do this from in Muirfield colored glasses. We're going to be fine. Muirfield's going to be fine. The Memorial Tournament's going to be fine. It's going to be one of those 10 that's probably already in the mix and locked in. And it's going to be good, and you're going to get to see great golf. And I think for our purposes and on this show, I mean, we're talking about majors and the Memorial Tournament. It's kind of the only time we pay really close attention to golf. This is going to be great. It's going to be great. The other thing you have to acknowledge is probably none of this happens without the disruption from LIV. None of this happens. So I think that this could be a little bit more competitive for everybody. I'm surprised. I'll be candid with you. I'm surprised at the number, 130 PGA Tour Championship players. That's bigger than I thought it would be, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also curious to see if they're going to formalize a return to the PGA Tour plan from, say, if you were to leave for LIV Golf.
I think they already have it, Reese.
Yeah.
I think they have it. I think Koepka's living it. I think he's done it. Because they offered you that first get out of jail free card, and he took it, and I don't think that you could ever allow anybody else to do anything less than that.
No, certainly not.
You know, once he did it, I think that's it. What was his?
He had to pay a $5 million fine that went to charity, and then he forfeited, I want to say, earnings for a year.
January 2026 announced Koepka returned to the PGA Tour. As part of his return, he was ineligible to qualify for PGA Tour equity bonuses until 2030. So that's another four seasons on that. And agreed to make a $5 million charitable donation to the PGA Tour's request. Koepka stated that he would make his PGA Tour return at the Farmers Insurance Open at the end of January, which would be his first start in a regular PGA Tour event since the Valspar Championship. I'm not sure how his week-to-weeks work, but we knew that he was the 10th alternate at Memorial.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, so like Rahm, DeChambeau, all of those guys, if they want to come back and get into this, I would assume at minimum, they would be in the exact same spot that Koepka was in, and it might even be more, because when Koepka took it, it was kind of like, well, this is your last chance to come back. So, I don't know. I think that could be certainly something worth watching. The things that I would be, in terms of here locally, again, Memorial, you're easy peasy. That's a top 5 event on the PGA Tour. You're going to be fine on that. The annual event at OSU Scarlet, though, I wonder if it would be part of the Challenger Series.
Yeah, I hope they make still a nationwide children's championship, but hopefully it becomes just part of the PGA Tour's Challenger Series. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just make it be part of that.
I hope that's the case.
Yeah, me too. And I would like, it'd be nice if other parts, like I mentioned, I was up at Firestone a few weeks ago. Like that place is ready to go on something like this. So it'd be nice to see them get back in the mix as well. We'll see. To me, one tour stop in the state of Ohio a year is not nearly enough for the quality of golf that is in this state. Our old buddy Paul Feinbaum had Pat Forty on, and Pat Forty went to work on Greg Sankey and Tony Petiti in a big, big way. We will get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan. T-Bone and Tyvis wake you up every weekday morning from 6 to 9, and I think I can sum up the show in 3 words. Football, food, and fun. Ain't that right, T-Bone?
And I get more volume per suck.
And there's only one thing that makes Tyvis happier than a free hair transplant.
All it took was legalizing the money you had to give to the players. And we are watching the demise of the SEC.
T-Bone and Tyvis, weekday morning starting at 6. And tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 The Fan.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Listen to The Beat with Austin and Byrne, now powered by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Get the latest Buckeye news, insights, and unbeatable analysis every day. Don't miss a moment. Stream The Beat with Austin and Byrne, sponsored by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy. Injured? Dial Pound Law
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Experience the adrenaline of Barrett-Jackson in Columbus, June 25th to 27th at the Ohio Expo Center and State Fairgrounds. See hundreds of no-reserve collector cars cross the auction block and sell to the highest bidder. Take in the lively exhibitor marketplace. Engage with interactive sponsor displays and enjoy a wide selection of food and drink options. It's an exciting, high-octane event for fans of all ages. Advance tickets on sale now for the world's greatest collector car auctions at Barrett-Jackson.com.
Common Man and Timmy here for Hollywood Casino Columbus. Oh, Common Man, we got lots of exciting things this month.
That's right, like the grand opening of the new hotel so you can stay and play.
Plus, we got lots of great entertainment lined up now through October. We got the Hollywood Tribute Band concert series, from the timeless magic of the Beatles to the fire and swagger of Johnny Cash.
And don't forget about the $250,000 Sweet Spins drawings on Saturdays through June. You can win $250K cash or a 2-night package at the new hotel.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Grilling season starts now at Billiards Plus. Shop top-of-the-line grills and turn every cookout into a win. Then bring the fun inside with pool tables, shuffleboard, and more. Everything for the ultimate game room. Billiards Plus. Grills, games, and good times. Online or on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey, folks, it's game day, and the betting's going to be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave, but a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right. You got to pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week. But not OJ, because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A sunshiny day for us today as daytime highs get into the upper 70s and then be very refreshing for us tonight with lows down into the 50s and mostly clear skies. For Wednesday, plenty of sunshine again and warmer. Daytime highs end up in the low 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Miss a little, miss a lot. Catch Bishop and Friends wherever you get your podcasts. It's free.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
The Fan. We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
Boy, this ended up being a lot going on today. We have some breaking news in the NHL as well, right, Bake?
Yep, the Edmonton Oilers have made it official. Mike Babcock is their new head coach.
Will Mike Babcock's tenure in Edmonton include Connor McDavid the entire time?
Only if he's just a one-year coach. I don't think McDavid's staying there. I haven't thought that all. When he signed that 2-year kind of you guys got to show me deal, and I think the signings that Edmonton made the past couple of days are big-time overpays. I just don't ever think overpaying for someone is smart for your franchise. I think Connor McDavid's out the door.
Is he a true free agent, or can they sign and trade him?
I don't know how that would work. I'm sure they could work out a sign and trade with him, but I don't know why you would do that if you're him, if you're 2-year. Because I think he has this year and next. Maybe it's just this year, but I believe it kicked in for this year, so he's this year and next, and that's it. But maybe it's just this year.
This is pretty amazing. So when you type in, when can Connor McDavid, Google automatically fills become a free agent. So he in terms of true free agency, he can be a true free agent at the end of the 27-28 season. So it's this year and next in terms of true free agency. That kind of leads me to believe that if you're Edmonton, if you're going to trade him, it'd be next summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got to know after this year whether he's staying or not, and then you got to cut bait.
Yeah. That'd be my guess, is so that you got a year and then that's it with him. So lots happening in the sports world. New PGA Tour, you get Babcock back in the mix, and you got Jim Tressel in the Ring of Honor. I did misspoke when discussing that. I don't know that I said he's the second coach in the Ring of Honor. Paul Brown's obviously in there too. But we talked a lot about Woody, and I neglected to mention Paul is in there too. So 3 coaches in the Ohio State Ring of Honor. Speaking of the Buckeyes, Pat Forty, longtime college football writer, reporter, journalist, been covering college sports for a long time at a high level, been at ESPN, Sports Illustrated. He was on our good buddy Paul Feinbaum's show yesterday with some pretty pointed comments about Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti and the differences between him and SEC boss Greg Sankey.
Again, Sankey understands what college sports always has been and what a lot of people still want it to be, even within the constraints of a new environment in terms of athlete compensation mobility. People still want something that resembles college sports. I'm not sure Tony Petitti has much appreciation for it or much care about it. As you said, he hasn't spent the time in the committee rooms. He hasn't spent the time in smaller conferences. He's basically left the workings of college sports to other people, has sailed in here, and I think just said, let's see what we can do to make some more money. Who cares what else happens? If we got to break a lot of eggs along the way, oh well, we're going to get rich doing it. I think he's the type of guy that would walk across Indiana's campus, this beautiful campus, and say, why don't they have Jimmy John's ads here? Why isn't there a turnstile on the diag at Michigan where they can charge students to walk through? I think he's all about money optimization as opposed to actually cherishing anything about college and college sports that already exists. So, if I'm looking for somebody who's going to be a caretaker of college sports, I'm not looking at him first.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know that any of that is negative for where we are in college athletics anyway. Tony Petitti's job, and I've been pretty critical of him through the years here in terms of the fact that we never hear from him, never see him. He very rarely talks publicly, but he works for the presidents of the Big Ten universities, and the presidents of the Big Ten universities gave him marching orders, and that was get us more money. That's it. That's all that they're doing. And I think it's a little silly also to paint Greg Sankey as like he is so altruistic in all of this and he's worried about the sanctity of college athletics. Give me a break. He's not worried about that at all. He's trying to find a way to maximize the value of his brand, which is a really, really strong brand. I'm not a huge fan of what Tony Petitti's done so far, but at the same time, like that's the task at hand. He's got to find money. So even the comments that Pat makes there, and I love Pat. I've read Pat for 20 years, and I think he's one of the best in the business. But even the points that he made there around Tony in terms of like putting a Jimmy John sign up at on the Indiana campus or a toll to walk through at Michigan, it's a lot of the stuff that's happening around here. I mean, you have to pay for a tour of Ohio Stadium now. You didn't used to have to. Used to be able to, the doors are open, you could just go in the place. And now you pay for it, and they're guided, and it's a really nice experience, but there's now money tied to it. That is the job right now in college athletics, is to find money. We might not like the end game of it, but that's Tony Petitti's job, is to maximize the value that each one of these institutions can bring in. And we'll get into some of the why of that, because it's not just an Ohio State thing. It's a story that we're going to do today with all this breaking news, a dozen years with Rutgers and Maryland, and just the position that those two universities are in. Tony Petitti has to find money and seat cushions wherever he can find it to pacify his constituency, which is the Big Ten.
So the Big Ten commissioner before Tony Petitti was
Jim Delaney. And
Jim Delaney was an athletic department guy. Was a guy who'd worked in that world. Tony Petitti is like an ex-Hulu executive.
I'm sorry, Kevin Warren.
Kevin Warren. Thank you.
Kevin Warren in between. My old buddy Kevin Warren in between.
So Kevin Warren
was business.
He was business. Yeah. And so there's an evolution of what the job entails, right? Where you go from Kevin Warren, business guy, to you dip even further into that pond with Petiti, who's a Hulu guy, who his job, as we've seen with streaming services that we use, is to maximize revenue. And so that's why he was given the job. And so to act like it's ridiculous that he's trying to go and find money wherever he can, where at the same time you look at LSU's doing everything that the Big Ten's scheduled to do. Because that's what you have to do in college football. And I agree with Pat in that takes away from the sanctity of what we love about college football. I think that's why this show was so bullish about not having that private equity infusion into the conference, because it would kill what we romanticize so much about the sport.
Pat Forty's exactly right in everything he's saying here, but college athletics don't want the history and the pageantry anymore. College athletics have moved into a full-on business, especially at the football level, and that's where we make all these decisions are at the football level, and then the chips fall where they are for everybody else. But I don't think Pat Forty's saying anything wrong here, but Tony Petiti's job is not to worry about that anymore. His job, and probably, like you said, Reese, the Big Ten schools hired him because they wanted more money. They realized where all this was going, and the teams that are going to have the more money are going to be the ones that are successful.
Yeah, it's the minimum requirement now because of, so many of the factors that we talk about all the time, but the donor fatigue that's there. So if you're going to build all of these new facilities and you're going to try to keep up with everybody else, you need to maximize what your brand can do. And the Big Ten is a big, big brand. And at the front of that ship is Ohio State, the biggest brand of all of them. So, I don't like him. I don't like that. I shouldn't say I don't like him. I don't know him, but I don't love a lot of the things that he does. I don't like how it's all behind closed doors. I don't like a 24-team playoff. I don't like a lot of those things. But of course, he doesn't work for me. He works for Ohio State, and he works for Michigan and USC and Oregon, and he's maximizing the amount of money that those two can be. And hopefully him and Sankey can bridge the gap a little bit, because if you do want guardrails, they're going to have to be a part of it. Paul Feinbaum asked Pat about the Protect College Sports Act and if it can be done without Sankey and Petiti. Here's what he had to say.
Well, I think they've established themselves as very important, but as Maria Cantwell said, it's time to listen to other people. Now, that sounds good, great soundbite, but if you want to get this thing through, there's a whole lot of senators in the Midwest and in the South who probably need to sign off on it. And so I still would imagine there's going to be give and take and push and pull that could turn this thing, if it's going to pass, into something more palatable to those leagues. So I think Petiti and Sankey are still very important. I think the senators in the states in those footprints are very important. A long way to go. A lot of people still don't think this thing's ever going to pass, but it's gotten further than some people ever imagined, and it's more realistic than anything we've seen in quite some time.
I'll just put a ribbon on it. There's no chance it doesn't go without Sankey and Petiti. And the fact that Ted Cruz and the other senator who I'm blanking on from the state of Washington allowed for it to go this far without them co-signing on it tells you that this thing, to me, was dead in the water from Jump Street. And Paul and I talk about this damn near every Thursday. There was just no path for this thing to have legs without having the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten Conference having its back. I mean, how could any senator in the state of Ohio vote yes on this? Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota, California, Washington, Oregon, all the South. Do the math. It doesn't add up. It doesn't. Texas is different because the top two go to our SEC schools. Everybody else is in those other conferences. So maybe that's a little bit different in terms of who your master is. You're a senator from the state of Ohio. Your master when it comes to Protect College Sports Act is Ohio State, and that's it. That's the list. You can't afford to answer to anybody else. Same, I would say, would be true at Michigan. Same would be true in Indiana and Illinois and a lot of these other places. So to me, without them, you got nothing is the reality of it. Coming up in 2 minutes, the NBA draft is tonight. It is always a special one for me going back to my childhood. Always enjoyed it. This one's going to be really special as well. Generational talent at the top. Our resident hoops expert, our buddy Jacob Reimer, going to join us in 2 minutes on that. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like customer service associate at a dry cleaning shop.
Yeah, hi. I'm here to pick up my suit.
Ah, yes. Here you go.
There must be a mistake. This is too small.
It shrunk a whole lot. Look on the bright side. Now you have a suit you can give to a child.
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Got a craving for scratch-made food, ice-cold 29-degree beer in every game on wall-to-wall TVs? Head to Twin Peaks, your ultimate sports lodge. Great views, killer eats, colder beer, Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Scotty Vegas here, and my wife caught me in the garage just staring at my beautiful new Bronco from Krieger Ford. I mean, I'm in love. The buying process at Krieger Ford was amazing. Quick, no pressure, fun, in and out so fast I couldn't believe it. I was prepared to spend all day looking at cars. Instead, I got my shiny new red Bronco out of the showroom in no time. If you're looking for a new car for the summer, visit Krieger Ford on Morse Road. Krieger Ford is my winning bet. Visit KriegerFord.com today.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
NBA draft is tonight. It is a loaded one. There is an Ohioan who most likely will go top 2, but could fall to top 3. For some perspective on all of this, we are joined by our resident hoops expert, our good buddy Jacob Reimer, right here at The Fan. This is your passion singularly. This is a loaded draft. If you are Washington, what do you do at 1?
Oh, my gosh. I feel like they can't go wrong. First of all, thanks for having me on, Bo. But I feel like they can't go wrong. DeBanto or Peterson, they're going to be fine regardless. But I personally feel like DeBanto's the better fit because of what they already have there with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. They just extended Trae Young on that big deal. So it doesn't make sense to me for Peterson to go there if he's wanting to be a long-term point guard, and they've just extended Trae Young. But DeBanto gives them a reliable wing threat to score and gives them a boost offensively to where they can be pretty dangerous once they step in. But I feel like they're going to be fine whichever option they decide to go with.
Give me a comp for DeBanto.
I see a lot of young Jason Tatum in him, especially when he was at Duke. Just the way that he moves, his offensive game is really strong. And the athleticism is there, of course, and playmaking this year for him at BYU, he really started to develop that as the season went on too. And I feel like you've seen that with Tatum, especially now in the league, to where he's become more of a point forward on the wing and getting close to triple doubles each night or racking up a bunch of assist numbers. And DeBanto had a triple double in college, had games where he was just a few assists away from having multiple triple-doubles. So as he continues to grow in that area, which I think DeBanto very much will do because he showed that towards the end of the college basketball season this year, that's where I kind of view his game going into the NBA.
Peterson's an interesting one. Buddy, I know I've talked to you about this. I've mentioned it on air several times. I saw him play as a 15, 16-year-old, and I remember walking out of the gym with my son, who's now a freshman, and I said, that's the best high school basketball player you're ever going to see. and he's the best one I've ever seen in person. Just stunning talent. Saw him at Allen Fieldhouse in March when I took Beamsy to the game, and he put on a hell of a show. But there was just this weird season at Kansas, and there's no other way to describe it. He's tried to explain it away with a creatine kind of overdose thing that kind of made him panicky about his body. What did you make of his 1 year at Kansas, and do you buy the explanations that have been given?
I thought I'm right there with you. It was a very weird season, and I'm jealous that you did get to go watch him play at Allen Fieldhouse, because that had to have absolutely been a treat. And the game that you did get to watch, he performed extremely well. And of course, you want to go back and look at when those two went head-to-head in Allen Fieldhouse, and you had that amazing first half from Darren Peterson, where he had 20-some points, was literally just a mixtape in that first half alone. And then the first 3 minutes of the second half comes by, and the cramping issues or the feeling that he then explained after the season came to him, and that's where we didn't see him again in that second half, and it got a little bit interesting. The bounces kind of slowly came along in that game, but I think I do for him to open up like that after the season about it and give an explanation about what all this is. I think it helps him with this draft coming up, so that teams can know how to prepare for what to do with conditionings and workouts and stuff like that, and to where it's still worth taking that chance, even if he did show a little bit of that load management, if you want to call it, like we see in the NBA and college basketball. But if the team that he goes to can find a way to work around that, I still think he's going to be an awesome NBA player just because of the offensive bag that he has. And especially if it lands in Utah, because that's exactly what they need. They need a go-to lead scoring guard, and him paired up with the guard they have now, Keontae George, and the front court that they have for next year. They can be a really dangerous team with him in year one if he ends up there.
What is your comp for him?
So I go a wide range of this. I see Anthony Edwards in his game. I see Devin Booker, and ultimately I see a lot of Kobe too.
Yeah.
Because the scoring is effortless. It looks like it comes so naturally and so easy to him when he's out on the floor. And it's so fun to watch when it's on, and that makes me sad that what happened to him at Kansas happened, because he saw it in the exhibition games last year against Louisville. That's when we got the first taste of it. I know it's exhibition, you can take it with a grain of salt, but it was just happening everywhere with the freshman performances, and especially because his was ridiculous. 24 in the first half in that game, only missed one shot in the first half, and it was this kid is going to be crazy. And then for everything to play out the way it did, it really stunk that we didn't get that full Darren Peterson experience, because DeBonta led the country in scoring at 25.5 points per game, which is the most any freshman has had since Trae Young did it in 2018. And if you get a fully healthy Darren Peterson for however many games they would have ended up playing, he would have been right there with DeBonta for the scoring title in college last year.
Yeah, Bill self-coached two teams, truly.
Yes.
One with him and one that they were two totally different teams.
His best coaching job that he's ever had in his career, in my opinion, just because you had no idea what you were going to get from him going into the night, if you were going to get the team with Darren Peterson, which was top 10 good, or the team without. With the games they played against were against high-level teams, because the Big 12 was ridiculous. They beat Arizona, who was number one in the country at the time they played, in Allen Fieldhouse without Darren Peterson. But that's the thing where Bill Self just doesn't lose on Monday nights in conference play. So it was, to me, that was the best coaching job that he's ever had. And I'm sad that they didn't get to go a little bit longer, because I felt like they fully could have, but that was a good St. John's team they ran into in the tournament. But yeah, it was by far the craziest story of college basketball last year.
Talking to our own Jacob Reimer right here at the Fan, resident hoops expert. NBA draft is tonight. Beyond those two, and I think Boozer gets lumped in with them as he should with that group. Beyond those three, who of the next group do you like the most?
So this is what makes this class awesome, is because there's so many different storylines. You have the freshmen, of course, you have the Banta versus Peterson, and I think it's Boozer and Caleb Wilson. And you have Carolina versus Duke. Those top four how they are, like, they're going to be monitored as their careers go on and how they traject with the Banta versus Peterson, Boozer versus Wilson. And then outside of that, it's loaded with guards. Like, the next 5 picks could easily be point guards after that, after those top 4. Like, Darius Acuff is going to be phenomenal. I love him as an NBA player. Kingston Fleming's from Houston. I feel like if I'm watching him, that's another NBA guard. There's so many that are right there. Michael Brown Jr., Keaton Wagler, Braden Burries is a guy that I'm higher on than most. So it's the deepest guard class that I can remember, but that's my favorite thing with this class. Is it's going to be generational, but there's so many different storylines that we're going to be able to monitor as all these guys go throughout their careers.
Cooper's supposed to be in this class. You imagine if he was at the top?
This is insane. I think he still would be.
He would be. Yeah, he would be.
The one season we saw of him at Duke was like the 3rd greatest freshman season that I can remember, because like I think Anthony Davis is number 1, and then Melo at 2, and Cooper Flagg could make a case, but Melo has the championship over him in college. But it's insane to think like there's easily 4 number 1 picks in this draft, and there easily could be 5 if Cooper Flagg was in it, because outside of the Victor Wembanyama year, the 4 in this at the top of this would be the number 1 pick in any other draft outside of 2020.
Yeah, certainly seems like that. What did you make of Dusty May going to Dallas and Michigan pivoting quickly on the interim title?
It definitely shocked me. I was not expecting that. I think they made the right move with bringing in Boynton to, like, he's a guy that's in-house. You're already this late in the cycle. It shocked me about Dusty May, but like it also didn't because I always felt like that was the end goal for him, and especially after they won the championship, like some of those rumors like kind of mentioned but never gained really any spark. And now here we are, and like he struck when the metal was hot, like, and that's what you have to do, especially if that is the end goal to get to the NBA. Like, you went to a Final Four at FAU, you went to a Final Four and won a national championship in 2 years at Michigan. You're arguably, outside of Dan Hurley, the best coach in the game right now. And if you're drawing interest, I don't think that's there's not a better opportunity for him to make that jump than to Dallas, who will spend the money for him to help him succeed. He's got Cooper Flagg. He's got a young roster that he can build around, and you've got Kyrie and Klay Thompson still there. And it doesn't have the pressure of recruiting and NIL, and it sounded like he wasn't going to be doing college for much longer anyways. It was just a matter of when, not the like. He was going to get there eventually, and
if not when.
Now here we are. Now here we are.
Yeah, we're here, and sometimes it's just as simple. Like, you got Cooper Flagg for the rest of his career if you do a good job, right. And that can certainly be enough for all of it. I love this night. I love the NBA draft. I know your passion for it, buddy. It comes through on the radio and all the work that you do. Thanks for your time and giving us a little bit of it today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Have a good one.
There you go. Jacob Reimer right here at the Fan, our resident hoops expert, joining on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We get you 3 things on a Tuesday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
When it's too hot to go out, it's definitely too hot for your AC to go out. The Waterworks Heating and Cooling Pros are here to help. We offer fast repair and AC replacement for any cooling system when you need it. Plus, we're a premier Lennox dealer and can install an energy-efficient system for a great price. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit us online at thewaterworks.com. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
Hey, it's Common Man. Everybody's talking about affordability these days, but the good news is you'll find hundreds of vehicles that fit your budget at GoGermain.com. Drive home in a new sedan starting at just $139 a month. New SUVs from only $189 a month, or a truck for as low as $329. Plus, choose from over 1,700 new and pre-owned vehicles, all priced under $30K, and it's only at GoGermain.com. And with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Go see my friends today. GoGermain.com.
That's the sound of Ellie De La Cruz stealing third. That's the sound of you stealing third. Right now at UDF, buy any 2 bottled beverages and get the third one free with Ellie Steals Third. Now Willamette United Dairy Farmers. Some restrictions may apply.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. Spent a lot of time pitching heat. Years later, the pain in my joints remind me of those days, but I'm not looking to sit still, and I definitely am not interested in going under the knife. That's why I chose QC Kinetics.
Not just for elite retired athletes. QC Kinetics gives everyday folks joint pain relief using regenerative treatments that work with your body to help repair joint damage.
No surgery, no long recovery, whether it's your knees, hips, shoulders, or back. My friends at QC Kinetics will help you get moving again so you can get back to doing the things you love.
QC Kinetics medical professionals will look at your x-rays or MRI to determine if you're a good candidate.
I trusted QC Kinetics to help me feel like myself again, and I'm proud to recommend them to you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Getting a speeding ticket can ruin your day. But what about that cyclist or the pedestrian crossing the street? If you hit them while speeding, you'll do more than just ruin their days. That's why tickets are more than just a fine. They're a second chance. A reminder of what's on the line when you're behind the wheel. You won't get a do-over every time. So take this as your sign to follow the speed limit every drive. Speeding slows you down. Paid for by NHTSA.
Common Man and Timmy. Voted America's dumbest show by Marconi voters. Common Man is a Columbus radio legend. And by legend, I mean it's a miracle he hasn't been fired yet. And Timmy is, well, Timmy will complain about anything and everything. And he kind of looks like a woman. Giggity, giggity, giggity. So there's that. Common Man and Timmy.
Sponsored by Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on The Fan.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place, here with a happy customer.
Wilson's trying very hard.
Thanks, Mom. I mean, Margaret.
Wilson, is this your mom?
Yes.
Mom.
Wilson, your mom should like your windows.
Oh, I wouldn't know. We actually have Pella windows.
Mom!
They've really lowered our energy bills.
I'm gonna go wait in the car.
Get the windows that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Morning Juice is now live on YouTube. Join Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Thidoff weekday mornings from 6 to 8.
Just search 971 The Fan to catch the live experience or watch on demand.
The Fan. All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, before we get to the poll, I mean, this has been a crazy day. We had, I may even miss something. We had Tress going into the Ring of Honor at the Shoe. Big news. You had the PGA Tour announcing their new plans for how they're going to compete on the PGA Tour, which is drastically different than they have. And I think, in a way, I kind of like it. I think it's going to land the plane. I think around here we're going to be fine. Hopefully the nationwide stop gets to stay. Muirfield's going to be fine. And then the third big news of the day is we have Mike Babcock being hired with the Edmonton Oilers. And while all of that was going on, a crazy connective tissue for me, Tony Castricone, who we've had on anytime we do Washington Husky games. We have him on. He was the voice of the Washington Huskies. He's a fan alumnus. He was here when I first started working here back in the early, the late aughts, I guess, is what you would call them. He was here as an update guy and a fill-in guy and just an awesome dude. He's been the play-by-play voice of Clemson and then Washington in recent years. He has been hired to replace Gene Deckerhoff as the voice of the Tampa Bay Bucks. The reason the connective tissue on this is so crazy is I lived on the same street as Gene Deckerhoff when I lived in Tallahassee. I was 3 blocks down from Gene and knew him really well at Tallahassee because he was the voice of both the Bucks and Florida State football. So this was nuts and really well-deserved from Tony because he's one of the best guys you're ever going to meet and one of the most talented guys you're ever going to meet. Go ahead, Bick.
I was just going to say, and now we have breaking news from Shams that the Portland Trail Blazers are hiring Minnesota Timberwolves assistant Micah Nori as their head coach. So a lot of things going on.
Busy day. NFL draft today as well. So happy for my guy Tone, though. He's awesome and deserves that. Those are big shoes to fill, replacing Gene Deckerhoff. But if anybody can do it, he can. What do you have in the poll today, Reese?
Daily Fan Poll sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub. It asks, are you interested in the NBA draft tonight? 85% say no.
Okay. I think you could almost put any fan poll up, and it would be negative if it's anything other than Buckeyes.
It is Twitter.
That's kind of the way it goes. Just skews so negative. All right, let's do three things on a Tuesday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Number one for me, the NFL or the NBA draft was always really special for me as a kid. It was on Turner in those days, and we did not have cable. With my parents' house where I grew up, we didn't have cable. So I would go into Conrad, Montana, and I would go to my grandma Sheldon's house, and I would get a mushroom and pepperoni and mushroom pizza from the Keg in Conrad, Montana, and I would get 2 peach iced teas, and I would sit on a TV chair at my grandma's house and watch the NBA draft. And I loved it. And the idea that you could watch guys be college superstars, and in that era, it would have been like Shaquille O'Neal, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Christian Laettner, Chris Webber, like all of these guys who are these known commodities in college basketball. And then you could see them elevate and land on their pro teams. Penny Hardaway comes to mind, absolutely. Was such a cool thing. And so it always has a soft spot for me. I won't have time to do all of that tonight and will not watch it as closely, but there is still something pretty cool, especially when you have a great class like this one is, where you have franchise-defining players and so many of them. Hope's fun, and tonight there's going to be a lot of hope.
So also in the news from yesterday into today is Golden Knights founder and majority owner Bill Foley announcing that he's launching a bid to bring an NBA team to Las Vegas.
There you go.
So this is the first step in that official process. The NBA Board of Governors approved a vote in late March. It's gonna $7 to $10 billion is the range that this process is expected to generate offers from. Foley owns a team in the Premier League. He owns a couple other European soccer clubs. He's worth $2.6 billion.
So he'll have partners that'll be private equity. I think LeBron James will be a part of that. They'll add Seattle too. The $7 to $10 billion in franchise is what's going to push it over the top. The question I would have, and you'd have to ask somebody who lived in Las Vegas, can Vegas support all of this? Can that town support from having nothing to having NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL, and NBA? Can it support all of it?
First thing for me, 47 years ago today, one Daniel Baker said, "I do" with Lauren Burdett, and that is a big thing for me because around 15 months later, I made my debut in this world, and I am very disappointed that I do not get to celebrate their anniversary with them tonight by taking them out to dinner, but I'm very happy that they are celebrating down on a beach in Florida. They have been the perfect example of what a marriage should be, even though I have not followed that example.
No, you're too big of a player. That's the problem, Bake. You're like the Hefner of Grove City.
Listen, I grew up in the Tress era, a pair and a spare.
Number two for me. This is my sign that I've officially acknowledged that I'm getting old. I'm always a stander at the youth sporting events. I stand. I never sit. So I stand in a corner by myself usually, and that's the way that I do it. I saw those chairs at the tournament in Indy, and after being on my feet for like 6 hours on Saturday, I'm like, you know what? Might be time to have a chair. I ordered 2 of them today. They'll be here for the trip to Virginia this weekend. We're now got a little bit of a rocker to it. We've got cup holders. There's a canopy for the sun. So 2 chairs coming this way that'll be in the back of the SUV headed to Virginia on Thursday.
Second thing for me, what colors? And did you get the rolling cases? Because I know that was an option.
Yeah, I went with the backpack because the problem with the rolling cases is you're usually walking across a kind of absurd terrain.
Yeah.
So, I went with the backpack cases. So we'll go with that. It looks like they weigh about 12 pounds, so that's fine. The blonde won't be quite as excited about that, but I think she's going to enjoy the canopy.
What was the color?
Blue.
Okay.
We went blue. Blue, yeah.
Second thing
Or no, gray. Maybe gray.
Oh.
Now that I think about it, Reese. Could have been gray. I don't know.
You went with the same color for both or a different color for the other?
I just ordered 2 of the same because it said add to Amazon cart for tomorrow delivery, and I said yes.
Second thing for me, any of us that are in this profession and stand behind a mic have almost always said something that you're like, yeah, that probably didn't sound right, or I shouldn't have said that way. A lot of times here at this station, that gets clipped up, and sometimes those things get played more than others. Well, unfortunately, that happened this week to one Pittsburgh sports reporter.
And it's already been a year since Oakmont Country Club hosted the 125th U.S. Open. It'll be back here in Western PA in 2033. This summer, Long Island, New York is on the spotlight with Shiny Cox Hills hosting the 126th U.S. Open.
So it is no longer Shinnecock Hills, it is Shiny Cox Hills.
I like it better.
Number 3 for me. We talked a little bit about House of the Dragon and decided we're probably not going to review it weekly. And I think this series has largely been a mess. Really fun episode for season 3 opener, but I do think they crushed the casting. Really incredible actors who I just think aren't working with the best source material, but the casting on it's been pretty on point across the board. A lot of hateable people who are doing a great job on the acting side.
Final thing for me, if you're interested in where Ohio State's ranked in EA Sports College Football 27, overall the Buckeyes are a 90. That is just 1 point shy of Oregon. The Ducks are a 91 overall. Indiana also overall a 90. They've got Ohio State with the highest offensive ranking at 92. Defensively, the Buckeyes are 88. The Hoosiers are both 90s offensively, defensively. The Ducks both 91s. Then you have Notre Dame at 89 with Texas, LSU, and Miami are 88s.
Pretty good out of the Big Ten there, huh, boys?
Final thing for me, don't go anywhere on your Tuesday. Rothman and Ice are coming up next. They will talk a little NBA draft in Dusty May with Dallin Cuff, who covers college basketball. Our friend Tyvis Powell at 1:30, and Austin Ward joins them at 2:30.
And you have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. We're back tomorrow on a First Friday, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway,